about what your objectives are. If it comes to the attention of the authority that you made false representations, pia unaweza kuondolewa. And then finally, if you get registered as a public benefit organization, umeapply hata umepatiwa tax break, and then you fail to undertake the activities that you are registered to undertake, that may result in your cancellation. But that all these procedures will be resorted to, not as a matter of emergency, but you'll be given a chance after. It's a step process. There is no sudden deregistration or cancellation. Utapatiwa muda, utaambiwa you failed to comply with this kind of regulations, so you need to comply. If you don't comply, then you get deregistered. One of the most fundamental inclusions in the new legal framework is the Public Benefits Act of 2013 introduced an aspect of self-regulation. That self-regulation was introduced specifically because of the suspicions that lay between government and the players in the charity sector. Most importantly, the civil society organizations that felt that the government wanted to clamp down on their democracy. They wanted to limit their capacity to operate within the country. So to ensure that government gives the free space for public benefit organizations to operate freely, they said they want to step back and allow the public benefit organizations to manage themselves. So that management, self-regulation, is actualized through these provisions in part 6 of the regulations that proposes that there should be recognition of forums. There should be forums for public benefit organizations. So what are forums? A forum means you have registered an individual public benefit organization. You can come together, a minimum of 10, and form a forum. The reasons for coming together could be because you operate in the same space, or you are in the same locality, or you just want to drive a specific agenda that is common to all of you. So you can register forums, and you require a minimum of 10 PBOs to form one forum. So minimum 10, but you can be more. You can be 10, you can be 12, you can be 15, you can be 20. We've said the reasons why you can come together, so that's sorted. The next process is how then does the authority recognize you? We've said the authority does not want to regulate how PBOs operate among themselves. But for purposes of recognition, once you come together and form a forum, the authority can keep a record of how many forums are there. And then it will give you a recognition agreement. So the requirements for recognition of forums are next. So for you to be registered as a forum, like you've said, the regulations provide different forms for different processes. So you need to make the application in the prescribed form. Then you pay the prescribed fees. And then once you come together, to avoid instances where mnakuja pamoja, juu hamjakubaliana vizuri, vile mnaweza cooperate pamoja, mnaanza tena kuvurugana, you need a constitution also, so that you can be recognized as a forum. So you tell the authority, we have come together as 10 BBOs, 20 BBOs, or 50, and we have agreed that this is how we are going to run our affairs. And if there is a problem, this is how we are going to sort it out. So you need a constitution. Then, of course, like the other application processes, you need to have a name, and that name needs to be one that has not been used. Then you need the meetings, the minutes of the meetings that approved the coming together. Where you had agreed to come together as a forum, you need to have those minutes and present them to the authority together with the application form. As forums also, you have office bearers. So you need those office bearers to be recognized by the regulator. So you need to present those details. Copies of registration certificates of the individual forums. So next. So prerequisite for recognition of forums. Recognition of federation of forums. So we've said you can come together as a forum, but these forums can also come together because of the reasons that we've already said and form a federation of forums. So a federation of forums involves more than, you need a minimum of 5 forums to form a federation of forums. So the requirements for registration are similar to the ones that we have already said. You need a name, you need the minutes of the meeting, you need office bearers. So those requirements are the same. But most importantly is that you can associate with other forums to come together as a federation of forums. So what are the obligations of public benefit organizations in terms of reporting mechanisms? How does the regulator facilitate that process? So the obligations, once you get registered as a PBO, you need to maintain up-to-date financial records of your operations. Then you need to file annual returns 6 months after the end of the financial year. Then you need to notify the authority whenever you make material changes in the operations of the organization. And then finally, you need to comply with the regulations that are already prescribed by law and that will be provided by the authority as you register your PBO. So finally, we've said once you come together, you can also either get deregistered or voluntarily decide to wind up. For voluntary dissolution, like you can decide to wind up for various reasons. Maybe donor ametoka, maybe you came together and you've disagreed on how to manage the organization. Maybe you have achieved your objectives, so you are allowed to come to the authority and say now, we registered this organization in 2025, but we have achieved our objectives. Ama ule donor mfadhili alikuwa amesema atatupatia pesa, amesema hana pesa ama imeisha, then you voluntarily wind up the organization. So for you to wind up, you need to present the documents that were given to you by the authority. That's the certificate of registration, the minutes where the agreement to dissolve was reached, and then the reasons why you want to wind up the public benefit organization. There's also instances where we've said the authority can step in as the regulator and say, we gave you a certificate, we registered you, we recognized you, but you have veered off from what you told us you are going to do. Maybe because you are engaged in illegal activity, maybe because you have failed to comply with the reporting requirements that are provided by law. So the authority can step in and deregister you. In those instances, contravening any law within the Republic of Kenya may also result in you getting deregistered. But like we said, nothing will be done overnight. You'll be given a chance to express yourself where you are not complied and an opportunity to comply before you are deregistered. So the proposed period for your deregistration for failure to undertake public benefit activity is 1 year. So if you decide to deregister or to dissolve the organization, there are procedures that protect the assets, because the assets that you've been using are public assets. They were meant for public good. So if you decide to dissolve the organization that you formed, it's only fair that those assets continue to be used to achieve the objectives that are of public benefit. So the authority gives so for protection of those assets, you'll need to notify the authority that you want to wind up, identify an organization to which those assets should be handed over to, probably the one that undertakes similar activity like the one that you are undertaking yourself. So you are given the first priority to choose where your assets that you had acquired should go to. These assets include things like vehicles, furniture, money in the bank, those kind of assets where they should go to. Next. So one other new provision in the new law that everybody should take note of is this leeway to undertake in limited business activities to support the objectives of the organization that you've registered. So the law now allows public benefit organizations, once registered, to undertake limited businesses to support the objectives. So this provision was introduced in appreciation that the donor landscape is changing. The kind of funding that used to flow into charity sector is dwindling. So we need to ensure that organizations that are already registered have a mechanism for sustainable provision of services in the areas that they propose. So mnaruhusiwa kufanya biashara kwa kiasi fulani tu, which is not risky, which will not risk donor money, which will not risk the objectives of the public benefit organization. So those are some of the new benefits. So kwa ujumla, these are the benefits that are offered by the new legal framework. Once you get registered, like we said, you are eligible for tax exemption. There is simplified procedures for registration of public benefit organizations, and the process has been fast-tracked through adoption of technology and online platforms. There is better industry standards, and public benefit organizations will now be more sustainable because of that element we have talked about, being allowed to engage in economic activities. So there was also better standards in terms of transparency and accountability in the country. So kwa hayo machache, in summary, that is what is those are the proposals that are contained in this document. Like we've said, proposals ni mapendekezo, bado ijakuwa sheria. Sasa mko na nafasi ya kusema of the things that we've told you here, of the things that you've read about these regulations, what is your feedback? Nyinyi mnasikia aje? Mnasikia ni nini tunaweza kurekebisha? So the way we'll go about this, so that's the end of my presentation, and I appreciate you for the attention. So
tumbikie Victor makofi. Asante sana. So mumeelewa sasa vile Victor amesema, amewachukua kwa ufupi kulingana na hiyo sheria na maagizo. Hivyo basi, na tumesema namna hii kwamba the white one, the regulations, hizi maagizo ndio tuna subject to public participation. Tuko pamoja? The act hiyo iko vile iko, hiyo ni a brief version. Ukitaka the whole act iko kwa website, ama unaweza nunua yako kwa download kwa law reform. Hii ndio tunatengeneza, hii kubwa. Ukipata hard copy, ama kama unataka kwa soft copy, tuko na QR code, ama uende kwa website yetu. Hivyo basi tungetaka kuuliza, kuna vikundi ambao wako na already written memorandum? Hiyo ni kikundi moja. Wengine 2, 3 already written. Basi nitachukua fursa hii kupokea the written memorandum first, and then tutawapatia muda kidogo you summarize, kwa sababu tutakuwa naye. Sio ni sawa sawa? Alafu baada ya hiyo then tutapatiana time sasa kusema wenye wanataka kufanya ile tunaita oral presentation. Oral presentation ni ya kusema.
Sawa. Wale wako na memorandum mkuje mbele ndio ziweze kupokelewa rasmi, na the DG for the authority. Lyndon, habari yako mzee?
Mimi majina ni Francis Chemor. Mimi ni kiongozi na represent viongozi wa Mamau ambao wako Nairobi, Mr. Kikonyo, Kimanteria and Director General Mr. Mauria. So hapa mimi nimekuja na viongozi wa Mamau kutoka wote representative kutoka North Rift. Kama unajua unatoka Trans Nzoia, unatoka sehemu ya North Rift, msimame juu as far as Nairobi yenye umefika hapa.
Wapigie makofi. Wapigie. So mwakilishi wenu ata present the memorandum to the DG, alafu tutaendelea.
Hii ndio memorandum yetu, na hizi ni majina 4,000 enye na ikampane hii memorandum in support ya benefit organization. Hii ni wazee Mamau enye walileta uhuru, enye saa hii tunajifunia Rais Ruto. Si ya kupiki pocket watu, si ya kunyang'anya, hapana. Hii ni ya uhuru na Kenya iendelee mbele. Mamau ile tu, ile ya wazee. Asante sana.
Pigie makofi tena huyo. Asante sana mzee. The next one, ule wako na written memorandum, please come forward. Mkuje nyinyi wote msimame huko karibu ndio tuweze kuendelea. Yeah. So unaweza sema wewe ni nani na unatoka shirika gani ama una represent nani, and then you will present the memorandum.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa John Khaemba. Nimekuja hapa nikiwa chairman wa kikundi cha Kiboroa ama ni mbele self help group. Nikiwa nimetumwa na viongozi, nikiwa chairman wa hii kikundi. Sisi ni squatters tuliofurushwa kwa shamba la Kiboroa. So nimekuja kuwakilisha kikundi. Hii ndio barua yetu pamoja na certificate yetu pamoja na majina ya wanajama.
Naweza kupresent to the DG.
Wacha tufanye clarification. Tunataka kama mshasoma regulation na mko na mapendekezo yenye mumeandika, kama huyu mzee wa Maumau, tuko pamoja? Tumeelewana? Nimeuliza kama uko na written memorandum ya ile regulations, kama mshasoma ama na mumeandika tayari ya kupatiana tu. Ndio hiyo, kama hiyo mzee wamesoma na wameleta. Wamesema kwa kila kipengee wanataka hii, wanataka hii, wanataka hii. Sio hiyo registration vile na kwa sasa. So is there any other group wenye wako na written memoranda yenye wameandika tayari? Okay.
Viongozi wetu wote, wageni na kila mmoja, amjambo. So ningependa kuomba wakilishi wachache kutoka Uasin Gishu Civil Society tukiongozwa na kina Barna waweze kuja mbele. All the organizations ambazo wako under network Uasin Gishu Civil Society. Asante sana. The PPO team led by you senior. Tunashukuru kwa hao ni Uasin Gishu Civil Society. These are some of the organizations. Kama ni qualify, tumekuwa tayari, tumekuwa federation because we are over 50 registered subscribed members. That is from Rural Women Peace Link, Mr. Clinton, Ngarisha Dada, Madam Vivian, Rambo from Muruma, Buddha CBO Kevin, Toboika from Shujaz, Abok from Girls Transform, Bunge la Mwananchi, Emeritus Senior, Mr. Barno, Emily, our treasurer, and I, the Secretary General, Wasingishu Civil Society. We've been having a number of concerns ambazo tumeona this submission ziko, tutasema tu in few kwa sababu we'll share through the soft copy. Number one is that we have the regulation section interpretation. Yeah, the forum. Forum means forum of the public benefit organization recognized in accordance to the regulation number 24. For us, we say the regulation 24 is wrongly cited. It refers to the process of application for recognition of a federation to forum. So the concern is that regulation number 21 to be corrected and the citation to be provides the definition of a forum. I think that was our one amendment. Number two, concerning the register, means the register of public benefit organization according to regulation 36. For us, we said regulation 36 is wrongly cited. It refers to engagement in economic activities, the way you had shared. And we said in the regulation number 28 is the correct citation. It refers to the register of public benefit organization to maintain by the authority. That from our rationale. When you go to the regulation number 2 interpretation, preliminary, proposed of add include new provision of interpretation, regulation proposed, new addition below interprets section 3, and therefore we say that obligation under the PPO to create an environment within which the public may have access to information concerning registered public benefit organization must give effect to the right of access to information by citizens as provided under Article 35 of the Constitution. Provision to the ATI Act provide the legal framework. We have as I conclude, because there is a lot, I want to just give some key areas. There is a point whereby they were talking about deletion and prohibited names. It says, that is section 5, it says delete entirely regulation 5C, which states, in the opinion of the authority, the name is offensive or undesirable. For our rationale, we say this is a problematic provision as it's entirely subjective with the no legal parameter decision of the authority. And therefore, it's sufficient for the purpose of the prohibition names. The 3 is regulation 5B, which provides the authority will not register a name that will constitute an offense under the act of any other written law. So there is the other part of whereby we thought of, we thought that there is that name where we say that majina isifuatane kama, for instance, Wasingishu something, like national Kenya something, that can affect the state, in quote, like the state is organ, iko interest. So for us, we said, unless whether there's a criminal issues or any other thing ambayo iko related to that, kwa sababu inasema ya kwamba the authority has the power to suspend them, kuwatoa, kudiregister, or any other thing. So that was our concern that we had. Just one word from our emeritus, and then later we'll submit under submission our email.
Thank you, Bwana Chairman. I think also the two things, or 2 or 3 things. The PBO Act is anchored under Interior, and yet most of them are working under different health, social services, and other things. You need also to see why are PBOs put under Interior? Is it a security problem? I thought they should work under the social services and gender department, because that's where they fall, most of them. 2 is, I've seen the regulations penalizes the PBO, but the regulation does not penalize the government in case of delay. My organization, I changed the officials, but it's taken over 4 months to be given back the letter. So I think the regulations also should penalize the government in case of the delay. Third and last is not on registration, but the PBO, as my secretary has said. I don't know why you have put the forum instead of having a very good name other than the forum, because when organizations come together, we can, and yeah, you have said 10 and above. So we can come together to have a forum. It's a political forum, or it's a human rights forum, or whatever, but you should have had probably a good name, so that when, and also you should have put regulations to say it should be geographical, either a county, a sub-county, a ward, or something. I think those are the things you need to change.
Asante.
Thank you. Yangu ya kwanza niliona uliongelea about the solution. Wales broad power over resignation, suspension, and compliance with minimal checks. Mimi naona kana kwamba the authorities wale wanasimamia registration wamejipea power mingi sana. With that regard, I recommend creation of independent appeal mechanism and set clear timelines and justification requirement for all regulatory decisions. Ya pili, umejua wakati tunaform hizi organization kuna zile ndogo ndogo na zile kubwa kubwa, na ukiangalia mambo na tax compliance kuna issue kidogo, and I feel there is disproportionate reporting burdens. Issue, uniform annual reporting requirements are burdensome for some small and rural organizations. Recommendation, adopt a tiered compliance model based on organization size and revenue with exemption or simplified process for low income groups. I think for that, zingine will give in the...
Probably, I just forgot one thing, Chairman. You see, the NGOs also assist the government. It's not our role, but it's the government role. Pengine kutibu watu, kusaidia watu education. So I don't know why ilifika mahali serikali ikafungia NGOs wenye walikuwa naleta vitabu, walikuwa naleta gari, walikuwa naleta computers. So you need also to have a regulation. Umesema just a general exemption. I thought the NGOs should be given super exemption because ndio wanasaidia wananchi. Tumalizia.
Asante. Kwa sababu ya muda, mimi naitwa Shundu Humphrey, chairman wa bunge la mwananchi. I have some concerns about the regulations. One, tumepata goodwill juzi na rais akisema ya kwamba to implement this act. As a CSO, our major concern is that kiangalia kwa provision ya core values, we are saying PBOs should be independent. How independent are we ikiwa mpaka tutangoja rais apatie directive ndio to implement the act? So we need to be very careful, because today we might be having a president that has a goodwill and tomorrow we bring another president who has no goodwill. What will happen to the act? Number two, we have been allowed to have economic activities. My worry is we have a rider about tax exemptions. When you go into our economic space, there are government procedures and expectation on how to raise revenue. Are we going to be tax exempted from those economic activities? Because our mandate is to ensure that we benefit the common mwananchi. Then lastly, I am just concerned because we have come from the PBO, we go to a forum, then we go to the federation. At the end of the day, the PBOs have different donors. How are we going to accommodate these donors so that now we come to a situation now we are talking about a forum? Because there are other donors who might not be willing to accommodate other PBOs just because maybe their area of trade is not in their area of operation. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Kwa hiyo muda tu nataka ni hand over back, alafu watakukaribisha chairman wa Nandi Civil Society Network. Thank you so much and asante mheshimiwa.
Tuwapigie makofi. Make sure that you see our secretariat, chairman, secretary general, go to our secretariat, give them your views so that we can capture. And thank you very much. Hiyo maneno yote mumesema, hiyo concerns kila kitu tunaenda kuangalia. Remember, regulations inafuatana na act. Tuko pamoja? Regulations sio sisi tumetengeneza ili msiseme hiyo authority wamekuja namna hii. Hapana. Sisi tunatengeneza regulations kulingana na act. Na hii sheria ni sheria ilipitishwa. So mmesikia ilipitishwa 2013. So si ati sisi tumeleta. Sisi tu ni kutekeleza. We are implementing this act. So all views will be collected together na ikuwe analyzed. Tupeleke validation ndio tuipeleke bunge. Ikifika bunge pia ndio watapika msasa. Kwa sababu pia bunge iko na wanasheria. Si ni kweli? Na bunge wakimaliza wanapatia wanasheria wengine kwa ofisi ya mwanasheria mkuu kwa attorney general. So this is just but a good process. Nandi. Before nimpatie mtu wa Nandi, kuna watu wengine wako na written memoranda wenye wamesoma washaandika kama wale wengine. Is there any other group? Aya, asante.
Amjambo. Kwa majina nitaongea Kiswahili. Sitaongea Kiingereza mingi. Kwa majina ni Shadrack Tarno. Ni chair wa Nandi CSO Network. CSO Network ni kwamba ni chairman ya organizations when wana operate kama civil society organizations in Nandi within the meaning of civil society, ambayo sasa jina mpya ni public benefit organizations. Ningependa kurecognize wenzangu kutoka Nandi. Wasimame tu. Sawa. This is a very critical activity ambayo kama ingewezekana ingepelekwa kwa kila county. Na sitasoma memorandum kwa sababu niko na concerns ambayo huenda ni concerns ya kila mtu. Na concern yangu ya kwanza ni kwamba hii public benefit organizations saa hii wenye wanaendesha ni NGO Coordination Board. Na NGO Coordination Board walikuwa na deal na ni body ya serikali ambao walikuwa na regulate NGOs within the meaning of NGOs wenye wale register as NGOs. Kwa hivyo board ya NGO Coordination Board walikuwa na deal tu na sekta moja ya public benefit organizations ambayo ni NGO. Na nashukuru kwa sababu katika hiyo kikao kuna representative wa NGO Coordination Board, NGO Council. Lakini sasa changamoto ni kwamba hii public benefit organizations itadeal na NGOs, itadeal na foundations, itadeal na self-help groups, itadeal na CBOs, international organizations within the meaning of public benefit organizations. Chenye tunatarajia hata kabla hatujaangalia kwa mambo ya sheria hapa ni kwamba hii kikao, especially the NGO coordination board ambao sasa ni public benefit regulatory authority, waeleze kinaganaga, kwa sababu wako mashinani, kwamba ni akina nani nafikiri hiyo ni kitu ya muhimu, ili kwamba watu wasikae hapa wakifikiria kwamba wale wa associations, wale wa nini. So nafikiri the coordination will take us through, waseme kwamba we is supposed to register kama public benefit organization within the meaning of public benefit organization, ndio tuelewane. Then tukielewana tutakuwa kwamba tutaelewa kwamba kumbe organization yangu ya mashinane, kama ni self-help group, kama ni cooperative, kama ni association, kama ni CBO yangu, kwa sababu wewe uko na CBO lakini
watakuwa under the public benefit organization authority, na ili kwa sababu ni kitu ya maana sana, kwa sababu sasa this public benefit organization authority watakuwa kusimamia NGOs, watakuwa NGOs, CBOs na hizo zingine. Kwa hivyo nafikiri hiyo ni
kitu ya maana sana, ili tujue ni nani anastahili kuwa registered. Wacha tu nirudie kwa sababu nataka watu waelewe. Under the Public Benefit Organization Act, tusichanganywe. Then from there tuende to interrogate sasa ni nini inatufaa, na tumekuwa kwa sekta kwa muda, na ili baada ya kuwa guided katika our counties, we have the civil society networks. Jukumu letu ni kwamba kwenda kuleta CBOs on board, wao kuwa members, lakini already a number of CBOs are members of the county networks. Kwa sababu umuhimu ya county networks ni kwamba na county networks ni kusema kwamba organizations zote zenye wanaoperate wasingishu, for example under the Public Benefit Organization Act, lazima waungane wa form union yao in form of what they call now the federation. Kama yule union ya walimu ni vitu rahisi tu, kwa sababu lazima kila county wawe na federation, ambao pengine tutakuwa na national federation ikiwezekana, ambao itarahisisha regulation ya Public Benefit Authority wenye wako na sisi leo. Kwa hivyo hiyo tu nilikuwa nataka niseme hivyo, wasijaribu kutueleza who actually is qualified to be a public benefit organization within the meaning of public benefit organization, wenye wanafanya nini na wenye wafanyi nini. Sawa sawa, asante.
Sawa sana, asante kwa hayo maswali. Kabla mwenzangu Masi apeane majibu kwa maswali ambayo yameulizwa, we've made provision for sign language interpretation. So for those of us that need the services of sign language, tunaomba kama meketi pale nyuma, mkuje mkaribia hapa mbele, we'll provide seats for you. Wale wanataka lugha ya ishara, mkuje hapa mbele so that you can be able to see our sign language interpreter more clearly. Thank you. Mercy.
Okay, asante sana. Wana Eldoret, hamjambo? Hamjambo tena? Okay, kwa majina naitwa Mercy Cheruto Soi na tumefurahi kuwa hapa leo. Karibuni sana kwenye hii kikao. Sasa ningependa kujibu swali ambayo ndugu yetu Shadrack ameuliza. Na ni swali la maana sana. Kwa sababu hiyo swali ambayo Shadrack ameuliza ndio kila mtu huwa anauliza kabla akuwe registered kama PBO ama kabla akuwe qualified kuitwa PBO. So the question is, who qualifies to be referred to as a public benefit organization? Kwa hiyo swali, there are certain rules, and these rules tunaziita the public benefit test. Rule number 1, your activity must be for the benefit of the public. Your activity must be for the benefit of the public. There should not be any private benefit that the members gain. Hapo tuko sawa? So ile activity munafanya lazima ikuwe ya kunufaisha watu wengine ambayo sio members wenyewe. Na kuielezea zaidi, tuko na mfano wa CBOs. CBOs, tuko na CBO ambayo ni self-help group. Na hii inamaanisha kama ni self-help group, ni members wenyewe wanasaidika. Sivyo? Tuko pamoja? Kama ni self-help group, members wenyewe ndio wanasaidika. Lakini pia tuko na CBOs ambazo ni za public benefit, za kusaidia watu wengine, the community members and a target group. So rule number 1, to be a PBO, you must have public benefit and there is no private benefit to the members. Sawa. Tuingie kwenye rule number 2. Lazima mkuwe na kikundi ama watu ambao mumewaona na mkasema ya kwamba this is the group we are going to assist. Hii inaitwa target group. There must be an identifiable target group. Mkisema mnasaidia watoto wa shule, that is a target group. Mkisema mnataka kusaidia wamama ambao wanaishi mji wa Nairobi kwenye point A or B, that is a target group. Mkisema mnataka kufanya tree planting in Kericho County for example, that is a target group. Sasa lazima kukuwe na target which is identifiable. This target group inamaanisha kesho tukikuja kuwatembelea na mtuonyeshe projects zenu, lazima tuweze kuona ya kwamba kuna hii kikundi ambao wananufaika, wanasaidika na activities zenu. That way you qualify to be referred to as a public benefit organization. Sawa? Haya. Rule number 3. As a PBO, if you are carrying out an economic activity, if you are carrying out an income generating activity, the proceeds of this income generating activity must be plowed back, irudishwe kwenye hii PBO. Lazima hiyo pesa ambayo munatengeneza from your activity irudishwe kwenye PBO for sustainability. Not for anyone's private gain, but for what? Sustainability. Ni sawa? Tuko pamoja? Sasa, wakati umetengeneza hii pesa, and then you plow it back into the PBO for sustainability, you will be reporting and indicating that hii ndio pesa ambayo tumetengeneza sisi kama wana PBO, na mkireport munaeleza ya kwamba tulitengeneza pesa kiasi hii na tumeirudisha kwenye PBO yetu. That way you qualify to be referred to as a public benefit organization. Tuko sawa? Tuko pamoja? Sasa, kwa hiyo swali, because nataka kudeal na hii swali ya who qualifies to be a PBO. Sasa nimewapea hiyo rules. Tusonge sasa kwa examples za organizations. Tuangalie mifano ya organizations ambazo zinaitwa PBOs. So long as you qualify to carry out that activity, we have companies limited by guarantee that qualify to be referred to as PBOs. Na ni kwa nini? Ni kwa sababu those rules that I've explained, they do not have any private gain. It is for public benefit. Tumeelewana hapo? Pia tuko na vikundi zingine ambazo ni CBOs, which qualify to be referred to as PBOs. Pia tunaweza kuwa na society ambayo inafanya activity kulingana na public benefit. So long as you meet those requirements, there is no private gain, there is public benefit instead, you have an identifiable target group. Mkifanya business, you plow it back for the benefit of the organization, then you can be referred to as a public benefit organization. These entities have been registered differently. Kuna zile zimekuwa registered as trusts, as companies limited by guarantee, as societies, as CBOs. Lakini sasa, this act and regulations intend to bring all these entities under one roof of regulation, provided there is no private gain in this organization. If you are operating for public benefit, then you are moving closer towards being referred as a PBO. Chairman Wanandi, have I answered your question?
Yes, but you have not used the word non-profit.
All right, so you wish for me to use the word non-profit. Now, when we talk of non-profit, it would mean these entities operate for purposes of not making any profit. All right? So, historically, the term non-profit organization started when organizations would come together for charitable purposes, so that they do not make any profit, but they confer charity. This charity is for public benefit. Then now, developments happened and then we came up with non-governmental organizations. Moving forward, we are now at public benefit organizations. The interesting aspect of the difference between the non-profit and the public benefit organization is the income generating activity, which the Act now introduces. So, if an organization is carrying out income generating activity, na mnatengeneza pesa, mkwe mko na shule, or a social enterprise, maybe mnafanya training and you get some money, sindio? Hiyo pesa mnafaa kuirudisha. You plow it back into the organization. Hence why the term non-profit is slowly being done away with, because in the development of the charitable sector, it was realized that it is important to encourage these organizations to do income generating activities for sustainability. Tuko pamoja? Thank you very much for listening to me. And I know there were other questions, but I wanted us to have that understanding of who is a PBO, what do PBOs do. Alafu tutajibu maswali. Tuko na mgeni wetu Joshua Kipto, na ningependa kumkaribisha ili aendelee kuengage pamoja, na mimi nasema asante sana. Thank you.
Tumpigie makofi. Mimi si mgeni wake, but I was supposed to be here earlier on. Ningependa kuomba msamaha kwa kuchelewa kidogo. Kwa majina naitwa Joshua Kipto. An advocate by profession. I've been a consultant for this process together with our team, C&K Advocates LLP. This should be our session number 8. Tulianza na Garissa, tumeteremka mpaka Lamu. Our team was yesterday in Lodwar. Today we are in Eldoret on behalf of North Rift. So tumefika siku ya leo, na nataka kushukuru sana kwa sehemu zote ambao tumeenda kote nchini. I think this should be the biggest crowd. Tujipigie makofi kwanza sababu ya hiyo. Number 2, misi mgeni, mimi ni mwenyeji wa hapa. So when I'm here, I'm at home. Nimesikia ukisema Chairman Nandi, we worked very closely with the team of civil societies in Nandi County and the entire North Rift. So sitataka kuchukua nafasi mwingi sana because the session is already on. So nadhani jambo la kwanza wakati tulianza ilikuwa ni kuelewa haswa what are we supposed to achieve today. Regulations umuhimu zaidi. Ningesisitiza tu tujue kwa nini regulations ni muhimu. Wale ambao wako na vikundi au wale ambao wamekuwa na CSOs ama wamekuwa na PBOs, previously NGOs has been the common word, non-governmental organization. So the only change is public benefit organization, because we are now more specific as to what is your objective. NGOs were doing what PBOs are supposed to do. Kwa nini huko na organization? Kwa sababu unataka kusaidia jamii kwa jambo lolote, whether it's advocacy, kama ni elimu, kama ni kiafya, yote yanahitajika. So siku ya leo nadhani mmeweza kuelezewa kwa kinagaubaga, na tuko na the entire team led by the chair and the director general here, that hii sheria iliandikwa mwaka wa 2013 hadi saizi haijawahi weza kutimizwa, kwa sababu without regulations you cannot be able to work. Regulations inasaidia kwa sababu inaweza kuonyesha vipengee vya sheria. Kama kwa mfano nimepata swali la kwanza mmekuwa mkijaribu kuilitatua, nikitaka kusajilisha, if I want to register ama kujiandikisha, what do I use? Our regulations ambayo mmeonyeshwa kwa kifupi hapa inakupatia hadi the forms to apply. So I want us to ask questions. Nataka tuulize maswali. Wakati wenzangu waliowapitishia through the different parts and preliminaries, registration part 3, bestowment of public benefit, bestowment nadhani kutakuwa na maswali. Kuna wale tayari tumeregister. Tarno, najua wewe uko na organization. You are not asking to register a PBO. But if you have registered as a CSO and you want to be considered as a a PBO. You find us now having a part 4 talking about bestowment. It is just a question of being recognized as a PBO. We do a public benefit test. Tunajaribu kuangalia tuseme kazi gani unafanya. Muhimu zaidi, maswali ambayo tumekumbana nayo ni what is the importance, hii regulations itasaidia nini? Na nashukuru kuna mmoja mmetoka kuambiwa hivi sasa mtakubalika au mtakubaliwa kufanya au kutekeleza income generating activities. And the only difference is that the work and the purpose for that income generating is to support your initiative, which is for public benefit. So ningetaka sasa tuifanye kwa haraka kwa sababu muda ambao tuko nayo si mkubwa, na tungetaka kuchukua maoni ya wananchi sana. Mimi ni mtu ambaye naamini sana public participation ni kusikiza maoni. Kama ilikuwa kufunzwa, mshafunzwa. The first 30 minutes, 1 hour was to do civic education. But for now, we want to systematically get all your opinions, your questions. I will divide them into 2. Kuna yale maoni ambayo utatoa inahusiana na the regulations. For example, kuna wale walikuwa wanatuambia fees ambao mumeweka kwa hii document with the authority being here, wanaambiwa fees iko juu. Kuna wengine wetu hatuna uwezo. Can they be able to reduce? Wengine walikuwa wanasema hatukubaliani na kipenge fulani, labda badilisha. You can be specific and put it in writing. Ukiamka unasema county ambao unatoka, sehemu au kipengee cha sheria ambao unataka kubadilishwa au unataka iondolewe, whatever opinion you have on that. On this regulation. That is the main thing we are taking. However, ya muhimu zaidi pia, kwa sababu the regulator is here, there are practice questions you can be able to ask and they are able to answer. Ndio maana unaweza kuuliza, sisi kama a CSO, tumekuwa na jambo fulani au shida fulani, hatujaweza kusaidika. Director General nitamwamsha nimwambie please tujibu. Tuko na team leader Lindo na wale team wengine wote ambao wamekuwa hapa including Mercy. So I would want us to work systematically. I don't know how many microphones we have. So that ikuwe easy. Kuna watu wa nyuma huko, unainua mkono, so I can start with this row, then I come to this row. So do we have microphones watu wa nyuma huko? Let us distribute. I just need 2 people. Bora give me 2 people. Mtu mmoja asimame pale so that the first half, just 1 microphone iende huko. So naona mikono 4. So we can start as the microphone ya nyuma inaenda, we can start from here. Unasema jina, unasema county, kama una represent organization, you specify the organization and the specific. So Victor, we can start here. Inafanya? Haya, tuanze na hapa. Karibu mzee.
Nashukuru sana. I'm Kemor Francis. As I had presented the memorandum, I will be very brief and I will read. We strongly support the objective. We strongly, sababu kwa Kiswahili ukiitwa kwa unga kuchota unga alafu eneenda bila mfuko ya kubeba unga sauri yako, pako uende na mfuko ya kubebea unga yako. So I start this way. We strongly support this objective and offer these detailed comments to enhance operational clarity, support effective implementation, and safeguard both public trust and organizational independence. 3.0, Article Leo, detailed comments and recommendations. 3.1, registration process. Establish a fully automated digital registration system. Decentralize registration to county levels. Enforce maximum 60 working day timeline for processing. Permit provision registration where necessary. Simplify documentation for smaller grassroots organizations. 3.2, governance and management. Adapt tiered governance obligations based on organizational size. Provide standard templates and model constitutions. Support federated umbrella group compliance options. 3.3, financial accountability and reporting. Simplify reporting templates for micro and small PBOs. Permit affordable audit alternatives for grassroots entities. Institutionalize national capacity building programs and financial management. Implement online reporting systems for efficiency and transparency. 3.4, regulatory oversight and compliance monitoring, promote risk-based monitoring rather than punitive inspections, introduce compliance self-assessment tools, establish county-level compliance support officers, encourage peer-to-peer mentorship frameworks. 3.5, taxation, income generating activities, and financial sustainability. Clarify tax exemption frameworks, permit regulated income generated activities linked to PBO mandates, introduce incentives for private sector partnerships, establish a national PBO sustainability fund. 3.6, role of county governments. Clearly define county responsibilities in PBO support. Alafu, appoint county liaison officers. Engage PBOs in county development forums. Create small grant opportunities at county levels. 3.7, promotion of collaboration. Establish national and county PBO councils. Institutionalize national PBO conferences. Create linkages between PBOs and national development plans. 3.8, independence and freedoms. Protect BPO independence from political and administrative interference. Ensure alignment with constitutional freedoms under Articles 36, 37, 38, and 47. Guarantee fair hearing and administrative justice. Transition period. Provide a transition period of 12 to 18 months for compliance alignment. Support technical assistance and compliance ethics and transition. On registration, simplify, digitalize, decentralized to county levels. Governance, create compliance based on organization size. Yes, I have presented to the boss. I will not enlighten because of time. What I only, in summary, nasema, if you take this one has simplified everything. The document has simplified everything. This is mine, my copy. You have presented mine. Yes. Sasa kitu nataka niongeze ni ya kwamba sababu umenipea nafasi. Kweli na tunaomba kama sisi watu wazee ya Mamau. Today tunasherehekea wewe nafunga tai kiongozi yetu. Hii mambo ya kufunga maakaunti mtusemee. Kufunga akaunti zetu na wengine wenye pengine watapitia fate ile haeleweki kwa mambo ngini o mtu ile hawezi kujiexpress mtusaidie. Assets kama river tax najua kidogo tu river tax and so on murudishie county government nayo wapate 30% na ile percent ikuwe kwa community. Mambo ngini county government yetu ya Trans Nzoia to benefit from Mount Elgon Lodge to let the community benefit. Mambo zingine naomba ya kwamba tuko na hapa tukiongea Mamau, tuko Mamau paka Koloa, Pokot, tuko na Mamau West Pokot, Mamau Baringo and so on paka Nandi. Iyo wazee tunaomba kupitia benefit organization isupport hiyo watu for compensation ile mambo ilikuwa ya samani naye watu wengine wa feel as Kenyans. Na mwisho tunaunga serikali. Ya mwisho kabisa sisi tunaunga hii kitu ibaki kwa Ministry of Interior. On one reason, iko mambo organization mingi yenye sasa inaleta pesa inataka kutupeleka njia ya Sudan. Sisi hatuwezi as a country. This is the only country we have. Na kama iko na pesa yako, enda sponsor watoto yako, wacha Kenya iendelee na Ruto demokrasia ifike, mtoto mwingine naye achaguliwe. Long life public participation and draft benefit organization, Mungu akuwe na nyinyi, na hii ndio organization ikuwe kwa ofisi ya Murkomen na isitoka hapo na officials yake.
Ningependa kuomba wakati unapewa nafasi, tuko na watu wengi wanataka kuchangia. So kama ulikuwa umeleta petition, just summarize 2-3 points, na usisahau kusema jina, your county, as well as the issue or the organization. So I want us to be very mindful of time. So I'll be taking 4 here, then nikuje. I'll come from that row. Let me finish with this row first. Watu wa microphone, I need another microphone.
Thank you very much, Wakili. Our chair who is here, Honorable Mabonga, our Director General, and all staff from the PPO Authority. My name is Martin Simotwo. I am here on behalf of Chepkitale Indigenous Peoples Development Project, from operating in Bungoma County and Trans Nzoia County. Our headquarters is based in Kitale. We've been in operation from 2003, and we believe we have also contributed to the economy of this country. We have had young people from this country get employment within our organization. We have mentored quite a number who have joined even public service and so on. First, I want to thank our president and the entire government for this process. Many of us who are adults, we know this law was passed a long time ago, but lacked political goodwill, and that is why we are still here. Straight away to what I want to propose, I want to go to Regulation 26, which is talking about annual returns. It is the feeling of some of us that we need a clause there that gives us also an opportunity to seek an extension, because there are many organizations growing, seek extension to file our returns. So because of the delays, somebody can make an application to be given, might be 15 days, 30 days to do his obligation. Number 2 is on part X, but on dissolution and registration of public benefits. We wish to suggest that we remove and replace some of the words and replace it with the authority should give a period of 60 days for public benefit organization to comply, because it does not give a timeline. It does not give an opportunity for compliance. And when that is just left open like that, it becomes also a problem. Then clause 35, section 1E, also if you read through it, mtu wa Kiingereza sana, it's not very specific. It is also vague it's vague in some way. So I think there is need for some changes there. Then section 3 also on 35, also public benefit organization as per the constitution. So we need to include, because talked about public institutions, we need to include when you transfer, you can transfer to either CBOs or entities that actually fall within the framework, but within that geographical region. You know, huwezi kuja Trans Nzoia ukae huko, then wakati unataka kutoka unatoa vitu zetu unapeleka Mombasa. You see, it must be within that geographical region. So that is something that we need to look at, because sumekaa na sisi. So kama ni magari waachia sisi huko ndani, kama ni nyumba waachia sisi huko ndani. Then also I want to go to the miscellaneous section, part X, on that is regulation 39. We talk about penalties. Those penalties have not been listed. And si mnajua, if they are not listed, mtu anaweza, anaweza amua kupenalize the way he or she feels. Akikuona wewe ni mweusi kama mimi, anasema wewe unatosha, hiyo yako ifungwe. Akiona wewe ni mweupe kidogo, anasema you can survive. Now, having said that, I still want to take you back to 27 2. 27 part 2, it talks about upon conclusion of inquiry under sub-regulations 1, the authority may put in place such measures to take such actions as may be necessary to ensure compliance with the Act. Again, we need to be slightly prescriptive. There is no suggestion of what to be done. And we suggest that might be umefanya makosa ama hujafanya makosa or you are under inquiry. Ikiisha, you need to be given a certificate that ile makosa ambayo ilikuwa imekuwa alleged haiko, so that you also, because some of these allegations goes to the media, goes to the public, that mmekula pesa. After investigation hamjakula pesa, what do we use as organization to tell the public that we have been absolved from the inquiry? So we need something like certificates. We also need to mention the actions that you can take on that. Then I think those are the few areas that I have thought that we should highlight. So thank you very much, and we want to thank the government for this opportunity, because it has given us a very good space. This regulation will give us a good space to operate. Thank you.
So thank you for that, and I would want to ask, ningependa kuomba, now that you have very elaborate specifics, it is also a plus for our rapporteurs to also get in writing, because you are reading from something. Ensure as you step out, you deliver to them so that they don't miss anything. There was a hand here. Can I ask for the two people to come, just to make it quickly? Ule na our good lady, so our good lady will go first, then I'll come to you from this row. Then we go. So I have already 3 people listed. So Msika Mbali will also present from here so that it is faster. So let's start with the lady, please. Just hapa mbele, you can present.
Thank you very much
Proceed.
for this opportunity. My name is Mercy Obala. I work with an currently NGO called New Roots Foundation, registered in Elgeyo Marakwet County, working with orphans, sponsoring them through university. So I will mention one point that has been touched on by our moderator, and that is the fee schedule. The notification of material changes was quoted as 15,000. As NGOs previously, we used to pay 2,000 shillings, and that is quite a jump. Material changes like postal address and change of board members, addition of board members, that is very expensive. The second thing that I wanted to mention was I needed clarification on we are registered currently as an international NGO because we have another NGO in the UK that only fundraises for us, and then we are the ones who implement here in Kenya. So my assumption was that we are going to register as an international organization, but my brother there mentioned that if you are registered as an international organization, you are not going to implement. So I needed clarification on that, because from the bill, what I read, if you are registered as an international PBO, you are able to implement, and if you do not want to implement, you can defer that registration. So I need clarification on that. And then the other thing was part 26, which my brother mentioned, on annual returns. So on the first point, you say that it is within 6 months, and then the next explanation after that, onto the first, the next explanation after that, you say that you should file your returns on or before the 31st of March. We need clarification on that, because our financial year end, which we intend to keep so that we can streamline with our donor, is 31st of March. So what do you mean when you say that we need to do that before the 31st of March? If our year end is 31st of March, obviously it will be impossible for us to file our returns for that period on that date. Another thing that I feel was not included in this was the operational, how to operate as PBOs. One thing is, for example, like the board members. Previously, when we were under NGOs, there were terms that the board members had. So now that you are going to transition, are we still going to have that? And if we are still going to have that, obviously it has not been stipulated, but if we are going to have that, say our board member has served one term as an NGO, right? And then we have been registered. So is that board member going to start anew, or are you going to consider the previous terms that the board member has served? So that's what I wanted to highlight. One last thing, please, was the exemption. My brother mentioned that even after registration, we will have to apply for the exemption with KRA, tax exemption. I would like to make a request, especially for income tax, because we get funds and then we have to spend them before the period year ends. So if those funds are not spent, we are subjected to tax, even though we offer our services to the public. So I would like to make a request, if we can have tax exemption. Of course, now we are moving, all of us are going to be PBOs. So by the time we are registered, it is known that we are benefiting the community. So can we have only income tax exemption, and then we can apply for other tax exemptions? Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I like the clarity. The questions that she has raised, hakuna hata moja tutakosa kujibu, especially on exemptions. International NGO will clarify, because there are two categories. Tuko na zile international NGOs that are registered as a PBO. Then we have those that are exempt. And exempt, tulikuwa tunasema ufadhili, if they are only funding. But we'll be able to clarify for you here shortly. So for the questions you've raised, including the proposal for the regulator on matters tax exemption, our team leader will be able to handle that. Karibu, Jina, county, and organization. Proceed quickly.
Asante. My name's Fred Kibelio. I come from, I work with the organization called Cheptal Indigenous Peoples Development Project, which has activities in both Bungoma and Trans Nzoia County.
As you'll be sitting, you'll make sure you'll pass through the rapporteurs to give them the details.
Yeah, I'll give them the
because
details.
I'm sure nimeonelea kwa nyuso zao hawajashika hiyo jina ya the organization.
Okay.
So but proceed, you'll give them.
Thank you very much. So I have 2 or 3 clarifications that I just want to put across. One is on part 10B. Part 10B on bestowment of the organizations. We feel as an organization that the existing NGOs, which are already compliant with the current regulator, need to be exempted from deregistering again when it comes to terms of bestowment. So we feel that any organization that is existing, when it is transitioning from the current NGOs to the PBOs Act, we feel that those organizations need to be exempted from any payment, which is under, that's first schedule on fee payment. They need to be exempted from any payment that's written there. Secondly, is on section, okay, on 16 part 3. The whole clause needs to be removed, because it is already determined that suspension or cancellation without clear procedure, this can be unfair to some of the organizations, especially when political interference comes in. Politicians can bring issues that cannot be justified, and then some of these organizations can suffer just because of politics. So we really want that area to be a bit more clear. Other areas, I think my colleague had shared with you. I'll go briefly on payment. That's first schedule. Application for registration for public benefit organization. All existing NGOs that want to transition, they don't need to pay that. I think we need to remove that. Secondly, also on bestowment, on application for recognition of a forum for a public benefit organizations, I think we need to reduce the fees to 5,000. Filing of annual returns let's maintain the current 2,000. Notification of material changes in public benefit organization, also let's bring it down to 5,000. Application for replacement at 2,000. Thank you very much.
Shukran, tumpigie makofi. Now, I'm just going to take 3 more comments from this, the ones that I had mentioned. So we had yourself, number 1. So I'll take 3. Then I would want you'll be number 2. And then there's one, just hapa tu nyuma yako. Njoo, karibu. Because ningetaka kwanza maswali mengine yajibiwe ndo tusipoteze. Sawa sawa? Haya, karibu.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed. My name is Edward Simba.
Alafu kwa wale ambao wanaingia kidogo, kuna wale ambao bado wana register pale, tafadhali tuchukue nafasi zetu. Officers who are regulator, please just settle people, but let us not disrupt the presenters as we take in. Shukran.
Okay. I'm asking a general question because I've not gone through the act. I've said my name is Edward Simba. I work for Gynocare Fistula Center, which has been helping women for. And one of the questions I'm asking, that's under Dr. Mabea, I think most of you know him, is how do we apply for tax exemption? Because he has been doing this work and we have been trying to find a way of getting tax exemption, but we have not gotten it up to now. So I would wish that you take us slowly through the process so that we can go and try to apply for the exemption, because the women we help are those ones who cannot be able to pay bills in hospitals. And they come from marginalized areas and they are quite vulnerable. Another thing, you talked about, for example, a PPO having an activity. If they make some money, they are supposed to pump back the money to the organization. Now, what I don't understand, if they are paying themselves, how do you regulate how the directors or the board of the board members, how do they pay themselves before they remit back the money to the PPO? Because it's a bit funny. Because someone can make money and then the money they make, they just put them in their pockets. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Those are very valid concerns. I think Lyndon will be able to answer. Tax exemption and how to ensure compliance on matters of finances. Please come. You're the second one, then you'll be number 3. Then I go for answers first.
Thank you. My name is Bishop Andrew Afula. I'm from Trans Nzoia, Kitale Mwisho Waleri. I'm here. I'm presenting Elijah Masinde Mwasame and dini ya Msambwa. Kwa nini dini ya Msambwa? Others, kuna wakati wengi walikuwa na wakisikia jina Msambwa walikuwa nafikiri ni pepo ama jambo mbaya sana. Kwa lugha yetu Msambwa ni spirit. Kwa hivyo hii ilikuwa ni spirit nzuri. Kwa ufupi ni kwamba ilikuwa ni spirit ya kufight mkoloni aende, wao wapaki na watawale nchi yao. Na hiyo spirit ikaanzishwa ikawa ni dini, ikatoka Bungoma, ikaja Trans Nzoia na ikaenda mpaka West Pokot. Ilikuwa kule. Na huyu nabii wa mkubwa Hayuka aliondoka, lakini aliacha hili shirika likiendelea. Kwa hivyo langu ni nini? Kwa sababu nimeandika hapa, sasa kwenda ndani kwa ufupi, nitaiacha tu ili watapitia ndani. Mimi kumaliza nikisema nini?
Wacha nimkaribishe Director General, tunaweza mpatia aweze kuchukua your petition. Tupige makofi tafadhali watu wa dini ya Msambwa wakitupatia petition. Maybe you could face the camera, please.
Thank you. Kwa hivyo nikimaliza ni kwamba hao walipokuwa wanapikania yenyewe msungu walienda na hao wakapaki mpaka sasa hivi wajakuwa compensated na mali popote. Kwa hivyo benefits hii ya mwananchi wa kawaida wacha wao wakumbukwe. Asante sana.
Asante sana, tuwapigie makofi. Lastly, karibu. When I come for the round 2, I'll start with your team. Then I'll come to this side. Na I want to see our lovely ladies, our dear ladies, tutawapatia, because I've seen men. We also need to see our mothers and our women giving presentation. Quickly, and then Lyndon, be on standby.
Okay, the protocol of SAP and the public. Good afternoon. Okay, my name is Duncan Kibet. I'm a resident from Sesop County. I have one of the regulations and some proposals towards this BBO. So first is that under the regulation 1 that has been said there, it has been said that true and it is free and fair and accountable services to the people. So I want to, hiyo maneno ya kusema free and fair to the public, they should indicate it and have a framework to show that they mean it, because I know that all the public NGOs wanakuja ground kusaidia na wananchi, lakini wanasema that transparent, but they need what's called a nice framework to show that it is what they mean it. Secondly, the name itself there, public benefit organization regulation. So kindly I request hiyo jina waongeze kitu kimoja. This thing should be independent body, not because it's an independent to run the services in a smooth way and discharge the duty well. That is the independent public benefit organization. That is it. Secondly, maneno ya financial audit. They should done the well documented and audited audit to ensure that tuwe na ile what is called the public trust to the wananchi and the funders. Nikimalizia, the membership of the board of the authority here, it has been said that the chairman appointed by the His Excellency the President, the chairperson should be under the requirements, should be a professional. Wasilete nurse ama mtu wa ICD mwenye ajiele kwa hapo to ensure that this authority to run in a smart way. Alafu tena kwa hii membership of the board of the authority, I do request that waongeze the church representation, that is NCCK representation, to ensure that everything run in an only way and in a trusty way, kwa sababu kuna maofu yanafanyika huko. Kama kuna mashetani, hawa watu wa kanisa wanaombea, si ndivyo? Alafu nikimalizia I think nimemaliza. Thank you.
Tupigie makofi. Haya, Lyndon, please karibu. Na hiyo ndio ni uzuri ya public participation, kila mtu ana maoni yake, si ndio? Na kila maoni, there is every opinion matters, and that's why we are here. We are not here to judge, but we are here to pick each and every. Our job is to put context and to ensure whatever you are asking within the limits of the law, within the limits of the mandate, we are able to give. So Lyndon, our team leader, will be able to answer the questions we've been able to ask. Karibu.
So I will go with most of the presentations have been recommendations, which we have heard, recorded, understood, and will present. But for the questions that require clarity, Masio Bala, you wanted clarity on current registration as international PBO. Under the PBO Act, there are 3 types of registration. Registration number 1 is under Section 7, which says that you get conferred public benefit status. This applies to organizations that are not registered under the PBO's Act. So you could be, as Mercy had earlier indicated, you could be a company limited by guarantee, a CBO that is engaging in charity, or a society engaging in charity, but you do not wish to relinquish your registration from that regime. So you come to the PBO authority and you get conferred public benefit status. So you'll continue operating under your original registration regime, but you'll also be filing returns to the authority on the basis of that public benefit status. Registration number 2 is under Section 8 as read together with Section 9, and 10, which is normal incorporation as has been done under the old Act. You get incorporated, you get your certificate of incorporation, which is perpetual, you proceed and execute. The third registration method is under section 11, which is exempt registration. Under exempt registration, it applies with a person known as authorized agent. Authorized agent being the face of that organization in Kenya and being the contact person between that organization, the people, and the government. Now, as an exempt organization, there are conditions. One, you cannot fundraise from within the borders of Kenya. Two, you cannot directly implement projects to the people of Kenya. If you wish to implement, you implement through another organization which is registered differently other than exempt registration. So this applies to organizations, especially those who want to set up what we call branch offices. Somebody is registered in the US or in the UK. They want to set up a branch so that it facilitates their movement, say, in East Africa or in West Africa. So they come, because of the amenities we have in this country, they come and put in place a branch office, which then they use to facilitate such kind of activities. Clarity on annual returns. The DG had earlier alluded to the fact that the PBO Act had been subjected to amendments. There are certain conflicting clauses within the PBO's Act. One of them is the one on returns, which says that you should file returns by 31st of March. Then it goes on to say you should file within 6 months. That is an obvious conflict, which as we are doing the regulations, we will have to deal with it as is until such time that the Act is amended so that the right period is indicated that is uniform for both the Act and the regulation. The other question is on terms of board members upon transition. The board members currently in office transit, as the Act transitions, the board members also transition to the new authority until they serve the remainder of their term. So there is no vacuum, there is no cause for alarm, and there is nothing to worry about as far as transition is concerned. Transitioning of PBOs also happens if you were registered under the NGOs Coordination Act. By dint of law, you automatically transition to the PBOs Act. No questions. However, if you go to the bank with a certificate written NGOs, the bank will ask you, but we think it is now PBO. Why are you coming with NGO certificate? Because remember, the NGO Act is now defunct. So what will be required from you is that you will update your records to reflect the new status quo. You will get a new certificate issued to you under the PBO Act. You will update your constitution and all other constituting documents to reflect the new status quo. On issues of taxation and funds, I wish to state that tax exemption from tax is not a blanket provision. The Act provides for it. KRA under their new regulations also provide for it. but it is not a blanket provision. You must apply for it if you wish. If you want tax exemption, you have to make an application through the authority to KRA. Then if you meet the requirements, because KRA has set out the requirements that they wish you to meet, the authority has also set out the requirements that you should meet. Once you meet those requirements, you are given your tax exemption certificate. I think right now it lasts for about 5 years. So back in the day, back in the 90s, when the NGOs Act was still fresh, there was a blanket tax exemption which was abused by a lot of people within the sector. So the government withdrew that blanket exemption and now introduced mechanisms that if you meet, then you are given tax exemption. So that is how it works. You apply through the authority to KRA. The authority and KRA work together, so you get exempted. That applies to Edward. Edward, you are the one who wanted to know how to apply. How do we regulate board members who pay themselves from income generated from economic activities? When you come to the charity sector, the first thing that should come to your mind is that you are entering a volunteer zone. Volunteering is what is required from members and board members of PBOs. You are not a paid employee of the PBO. You are a volunteer. The people that get paid are the members of staff that execute the actual function of that PBO. So all board members and members are volunteers, and I think if you look at the law more closely, you'll find caveats that have been placed in that a board member cannot benefit. A member cannot benefit from the proceeds of a PBO. Those are public proceeds that are meant for certain vulnerable groups. So it is the authority, it is upon the authority, that is ourselves, to closely monitor and ensure that members of the PBOs are not benefiting themselves. Otherwise, they do not qualify to be registered as PBOs, because we have self-help organizations where people can benefit themselves. On Dini Msambwa, you want representation in the board of the authority. Well, what we are doing now is making regulations. The act had already been done back in 2013. And for your information, this act was done by civil society organizations. It was not done by government. It was done by yourselves. And this is how you thought it should look like. So what we are trying to do now as government is to make regulations that will enable us implement that act. And when you made it, you categorized how the board should be represented. And that is how it is. So if there's any need for further representation, then the act has to be amended. It means we have to come for another public participation across the country and get views. Joshua, I think
that is in order. Now I want to take the next round of questions. Kuna wale ambao nilikuwa nimewaweka hapa, and I want to give priority to our women because I haven't seen them talking much. Nilikuwa tumesema tunaanza na wewe, so we want us to finish here. I'll come to you later, please come. And then I'll come to you number 2 as I look for the other hands.
Thank you, moderator. I have three concerns. Maybe just to be on record, I'm Shundu Humphrey, Chairman Bunge la Mwananchi Huruma. The first concern is on page 8 of this document, the bestowment of public benefit organization. From the earlier presentation, we were assured that those who have been in existence and registered, they will not be required to re-register. My concern is on part 10, subsection B. Bestowment.
Accompanied by the fee specified in the first schedule.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Yeah, we are being told that it should be accompanied by the fee specified in the first schedule. Going by what we are told, that we have been reassured that we should not be required to register, when you go to the schedule, the first schedule, we are told that part 4, application for bestowment of public benefit organization status is 22,000. Kindly clarify on that, because if we had applied, I remember, I want to associate myself with the rising Shujaa CBO, we paid 5,000 during the registration. But now we are being told the application for bestowment of public benefit organization status will be now 22,000. What will happen to my 5,000, and I've done a renewal to that effect? Then number 2, still on the fee schedule, I will propose, because like for me, I'm already registered, I will propose that we reduce that registration fee to at least 5,000, because looking at this schedule, it's assumed that already we have donors. But from experience, like for my CBO, we have no donor. It's us, we have volunteered, we are getting to our pockets with friends to contribute towards the benefit of the common mwananchi. But looking at these figures, you are assuming that we are donors who are giving us money. If I volunteer to help somebody, maybe for example, like us, we do outsource sanitary pads, we provide to students and the vulnerable women at our own cost and our own will. We don't have any donor, but at the end of the day, we look for friends. When we get friends, if they don't come by, we just do contributions, then we give out those sanitary pads. How do you now want me to give out another 22,000, which goes now to the authority for administration and other purposes, and yet I've just volunteered to give it out? So I will propose we go back to the 5,000, and then there's this filing of annual returns. When I do my annual, for example, when I renew my certificate annually, the cost is lower than the 4,000. I have volunteered to give out this benefit. Still, you want me to now file returns at a cost of 4,000. I will propose you go back to 1,000, because I must give figures the way I think it will be beneficial to us. Then finally, on the purposes, I think it is on clause what?
Are you referring to purposes? Purposes
of when you are declaring the objectives of the organization.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I'm guided that I should at most give the regulation number 3.
Yes.
I'm told,
yes.
Okay, the provision is ABC.
Yes.
The objectives.
Yes.
But here we have a note which is saying, please note that you do not have to choose multiple purposes, since your organization is only required to be carrying out one public benefit. I'm concerned, like from our organization, majorly we are governed, we dwell on governance, that is participatory governance. Then from that governance, we need education, which is another purpose. From that education, we need information, which is another purpose. Then we are saying For example, we also talk to them about peace building, which is another purpose. How are we able to navigate through those issues when we are advised that we should restrain ourselves to at least a single purpose? But at the end of the day, it's a collective responsibility, especially Chapter 4, which is about rights. And then these rights, we need to get advocacy on information, access, and all other that information. Thank you very much.
Collectively, we can say you are doing advocacy, but
Yeah.
we'll be able to advise you.
Yes.
It is a question of the wording of your registration.
Yes.
Because what I've heard, once you're an advocacy rights group
Yes.
that deals with a specific section of the Constitution,
Yes.
advocacy can be on several aspects, but it is within the sphere of advocacy.
Thank you.
And I think the regulator will be able to advise on that.
I'm guided. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much. Tumpigie makofi as we take a comment here. Please come quickly.
My name is Aroda Cheptarus Chepsiror. I am coming from Trans Nzoia County, near to Shingishu County. So I want to propose. Yangu ni maoni
Karibu.
na nitaongea kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Kwamba ningependa mbele zenu, kwa sababu sisi ni wakeni wenu, sehemu ya human rights, NGOs, PPO, mahali penye tumekuja na furaha na mumetuacha kwa umbali. Tunashukuru kwa sababu mumekuwa karibu ili mkue na waso wetu kila wakati, kwa sababu sisi kuenda mbele na kupata wakubwa ni ngumu sana, lakini tukipata wenye nimewataja, kasi yetu itakuwa wepesi. Na haya yote Jeboy alikuwa anatushika mkono. Ninaomba mahali penye organization mahali yako kwa saa hii akue karibu na sisi bado. Nitalenga kwamba kwa haya yote nimetaja human rights, NGOs, PPO ya siku ya leo. Yangu ni kusema hapo awali mlikuja karibu na sisi human rights mkiwa hapa. Tukatoa waso wetu, tukasauriana pamoja, tukajenga katiba pamoja. Na yale yote ambayo tuliongea sio mchezo. Yenye tumeongea hata saa hii haitakuwa mchezo. Tulipata kama imeandikwa. Mimi niliona yangu yenye nilitoa maoni. Na saa hii ninapenda kusema ya kwamba hapo awali tulikuwa na viongozi wawili, mkikumbuka. Tulikuwa na Raila Omolo Odinga na late Mwai Kibaki. Wakatukua wanatusumbua. Kila wakati kila mtu ako na issue zake tofauti. Serikali ikaenda nyuma. Tukasema ya kwamba wakati tuliandika katiba, hatutakuwa na viongozi wawili Kenya. Eri tukue na rais moja, lakini mahali penye watakuwa wanatushikilia ni kotini. Sisi tumeenda kotini, tumeonyeshwa article 1. Article 1 inatupatia wananchi kukuwa na nguvu ya kusema, lakini ndani yake hakuna kasi. Article 134, 143 imeenda kufunga tena yule mwenye anakuwa rais. Hakuna kumtoa, hakuna kumfanyia kesi kotini. Jinsi vile ameaibishwa anakaa hipo mpaka atoke. Na sisi tulifanya kazi gani? Tulitoa prime minister na saa hii tunahangaika. Mahali penye tulisema tunakimbilia ikuwe rais moja, shida inapatikana. Sasa tunaomba tutarudisha prime minister ikuwe wawili, kwa sababu mwingine akilemewa mwingine anainua. Hata wanasema vifofu wawili hawezi wakatembea kwa shimo moja. Kuna mwenye atakuwa na maoni na macho yake ataangalia ataokoa nyingine. Tunatoka kwa hapo, tunaenda sehemu ya katiba. Wakati tulipitisha, kuna maoni Mwai Kibaki aliweka sahihi. Akasema kuna correction ambayo itafanywa baadaye. Lakini sasa wakati ya Uhuru Kenyatta na William Ruto alipokuwa wakati wao, wakasema ya kwamba hawana pesa. Tukasema hakuna mwenye amepatilisha na madamu iko ndani, machache ni mbaya. Sasa wenye wahusika tunataka turekebishe katiba na tutoe pengele ambayo inatukera. Na nikisema inatukera ni mambo ya hospitali. Hospitali wanaenda mkomo. Watu wanaifiwa, baadaye wanapata salary sawa. Sasa watakuwa wanasaidia wa Kenya. Tunataka tukomeshe, kama tutaandika hakuna kukoma. Kama umeandikwa kwa serikali, ufanye kazi kwa serikali, ufuatane na serikali na viongozi ya serikali, upewe salary zako, lakini sio kupoteza wananchi kwa hospitali. Tunalia hospitali sana, wasiende kukoma. Na tukiendelea tunaenda ya shule. Ya shule wametuletea mambo ambayo ni maisha ngumu kwetu. Wataelekea wapi? Kama wanasema kila mtu akili ni nywele, nani ana nywele? Sasa
Asante sana.
Asante sana. Sasa tunasema mtoe hii pengele ya kusema curriculum mpya kwa shule ikae kama mwanzo, kama rais hajatoka. Amutapata tena. Saisi kwa sai.
Alafu ningependa kuomba, tunangojea pia maoni kuhusiana na yale ya Public Benefits Organization. Umetupatia maoni ambayo yanahusiana na serikali, nchi, lakini na katiba pia ni nzuri na unapewa haki, lakini tungetaka ukiona wale rapporteurs pale wanataka kuandika, sasa naona wajaandika bado. Tafadhali somalizia kwa haraka.
Nikimalizia yenye sasa ni ya siku ya leo ni kwamba tuko na ngumu ya maji. Kule nyumbani tungependa kama mtalenga huko, mtatusaidia na mimi nitatoa shamba yangu iwekwe maji. Kwa majina ni Roda Cheptarus.
Tumpigie makofi, amesema atatoa shamba yake kwa water project. Asante sana. Bado nilikuwa hii side nyingine. Ningependa kuomba wakati tunatoa, please come quickly, then you can also come quickly. 1 2 3. Yule mzee simama tafadhali, kuja na mwenzangu hapa white haraka. Alafu ningependa kuomba, sipendi kukatisha mtu kwa sababu ningetaka wakati unazungumzia tuguzie ya Public Benefit Regulatory Authority. Bora hapa kuna yale ambao hawezi saidia. Lakini hapa naona tuko kwa county, kuna zingine za county. Kama watu wa county wangekuwa hapa tungesukumia hao wengine. Kama kungekuwa na other ministries tusukumie. Lakini kwa sababu sehemu ya leo tunahusika haswa na Regulatory Authority ya Public Benefit Organization, NGOs, CSOs, Public Benefit Organization. Tafadhali, let us restrain ourselves there ndio ikuwe rahisi. Quickly, be in the interest of time. Tuanze na hapo. Jina, county and organization.
Thank you so much. All protocol observed. Good afternoon. My name is Boaz Sapari. I'm from West Pokot. I work with SICOM Peace Network for Development. I have two issues. One is on the registration. You said there are 4 types of PBOs. And we have NGOs currently that are working on cross-border issues. And I never saw anything mentioned on cross-border. I guess I will need clarification on that.
That is under international NGOs that are registrable?
No, it is an NGO, but there are activities that mostly they occur on cross-border. West Pokot, we are bordering to Uganda. And I know maybe you've come across this question on bordering countries like Turkana.
Okay, thank you. I think Lyndon will be able to answer that.
The second one is on the deregistration. They have said that if you're not going to engage in public benefit activity for 1 year, you're going to be registered. Hai bwana, 1 year ni kidogo sana. Proposal writings are very tedious and it takes time. I think they should increase the number of years.
You can give a proposal?
I can give a proposal, maybe 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Hiyo ni proposal yake. Our rapporteurs capture that.
Thank you so much.
Asante, thank you for being brief and clear. So, I think you've mentioned about cross-border, which falls under what we call international NGOs, and we'll be able to answer that. Please proceed quickly.
Habari zenu. Good afternoon. My name is Amos Wanjala Wanambua, representing MMV Associates CLG, a forum. Tuna work na Maumau Veterans Association, Jeremiah Mugi Foundation. So mine is not I just have a question on bestowment. On bestowment, kuna a minimum of 5 directors. So I needed clarification because on MMV, we got only 3 directors. So at least you can give us the clarification on how we can go about it. Then ningependa tu, because we on the public benefit, public participation ya regulations, na memorandum yetu tumepeana. So ningependa, because unajua wazee waliandika hii barua na inaendea director, sisi ni director, so ningependa kama tu present.
On behalf of the Director General, maybe you could receive.
And before nipeane, ningependa kusimamisha members Baringo, Trans Nzoia, wasimame tu, Baringo, wote wa MMV, West Pokot, Trans Nzoia, msimame mwevie watu wajue mko wote hapa. Asante.
Tuwapigie makofi ama mjipigie makofi pia, because you are the majority here. Asante.
So ningependa tu kupresent barua iliandika na wazee, na sisi ikiangaliwa page 3, sisi ni director public benefit organization.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And one more hand I was taking from here before. There's a were you the one? Please. Welcome.
Thank you. Nataka nishukuru kwanza kikao hiki kwa sababu public participation on drafting public benefits organization PPO regulation 2025 kuanzia June 19 to 25 2025. I am happy to be one of the associate. Nataka nishukuru kwanza NGO ya samani inapokuja hii VPO. Mimi naitwa Bishop William Cheserem Kitilit, Baringo Human Rights Consortium, na kazi yetu kama Baringo Human Rights Consortium kule upande wa Baringo tumekuwa tukideal na mambo ya land, family na chapter 6, yani mambo ya leadership, kuonyesha kwamba watu wanakaa vizuri. So swali langu ilikuwa ni hii, tukienda kwa VPOs, nimeona mumeunganisha yote kusema kwamba kutoka NGO, CPOs. What about companies? Hii companies ambaye ni labda ya cooperative societies, labda wameform ya coffee, wameform ya chai, iko chini yenu ama iko nje? Maana hapo nimechanganyikiwa. Kwa sababu wale, kwa mfano kama sisi, mimi sasa ni director kwa Baringo County, lakini tunauza kahawa ya Kenya mzima, kwa sababu tuko na kampuni inaitwa Baringo Kawa Brokerage Company Limited, na ni ya wakulima. Iko chini yenu ama iko nje? Thank you very much. Swali langu ama pendekezo langu ni ya kwamba msiende mbali na kwa upande ya pesa. Hawa raia mpunguze, badala ya shilingi 20,000 kuja chini. Tukuja chini kwa sababu raia ni wenu. Na sasa CPOs na NGOs watakuwa ni wengi na pesa itakuwa ni mingi. So reduce pesa ikuje chini. Kwa kumalizia, ningeomba hii kikundi tafadhali shuka chini, enda kila county, msitumie region, enda kila county, maana kila county iko na geographical yao mambo. Vile tumekuja hapa nimepatika kupitia Mau organization. So inaonekana kwamba inatakikana kule kila sub county kila county mupewe nafasi chini ya county commissioner ama chini ya district commissioner, tuone ya kwamba ili jambo lifikie wananchi. Otherwise tunaseka kusema long life Kenya na hatutaki furuki. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, tuwapigie makofi ambao wametoa maoni. Now karibu. So I need to take the next round around 5. I'm coming to this side again. So katika sehemu hii wale ambao wako tayari na maswali, haswa watu wa nyuma, msikae mbali, mtakaribia ndio niweze kuchukua maoni yenu. Karibu. Jina, county, organization.
Good afternoon. I'm Peter Juma from Trans Nzoia SSRG group. On section 12 that says that application for registration.
Na kabla endelee, just kidogo from Trans Nzoia, ningependa kuomba, wakati tuliingia katika ukumbi huu kila mtu alipewa form ambayo ilikuwa kama questionnaire kuulizia maoni yako na ukajiandikisha. Kabla uondoke, kuna wale ambao labda wanapatikana na shughuli wangetaka kuondoka, tafadhali hakikisha kabla uondoke umeweza kurudisha fomu hilo kwa wale ambao wanasimamia pale wa regulator. Kila mtu ambaye alipewa usisahau kujaza. Hapo ndo tunaweza kujua na tunaweza kutimiza maoni. Kwa public participation nyingi watu wamekuwa wakisema that serikali makosa yao, agencies and what have you, wanakuja wanasikia maoni lakini hatuoni maoni yetu. Wakati unaandikisha jina inakuwa rahisi so that we can be able to trace. Hakikisha kabla uondoke, kama ni kuondoka umeandika na umetupatia pale questionnaire. Karibu, endelea. Sorry for that.
Okay, now I'm Peter Juma from Trans Nzoia SSRG Group. Now on section 12 that says that application for registration as an international BBO. Now application for registration as an international BBO shall made an authority accompanied by a document inducting the source of funding of organization. My proposal is that we delete the entire section. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, the chair. Thank you, everyone. Now, I want to correct, sorry, someone who talked about Mau Mau. Okay, let's call them freedom fighters in general. This country had not one group of freedom fighters. Anyway, thank you for that. Okay, my question concerning these PBOs. Does it have any connection with angel investors or business angels? That's my question. Or what's the source of their funding? Number two, what's the criteria for aid, be it churches, be it organizations, or is it churches only? Number three, what does the national government do or say about any INGO? It sounds like a Luya word, international non-governmental organizations. What does the government do or intend to do about INGOs, which involve themselves in the internal politics of our sovereign state, that is the Kenyan nation and the Kenyan people? What does it do about it? If someone goes astray and hides behind the human rights, Nana chokora our country, what does the government do? We don't want to be like Congo. What do you say, the public? Do you like that? Maybe you like it, I don't know. So those are my three questions. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, tupigie mzee. We want that clarity. Unakuja kama unakuwa na maswali iko ready. Karibu. Naona hako na natural microphone. Sema jina na county.
And I remember.
Okay, no, we want the microphone for purposes of because it is being streamed live.
Okay, sawa.
Proceed.
Nimesema naitwa Jeremia Juma Rambo kutoka hapo Uasin Gishu County. Na nimeanza kwa kusema maybe naweza kuwa mimi ni Slolana because wakati tulikuwa hapo mbele ule mzee wetu ambaye alisema ni wa Maumau alisema hii kitu hibaki hapa kwa interior. Then wakati mimi nimekaa hapa chini, there is something that may come out of my mind. Initially when we were registering the CBOs and any other self-help group and other organization, tulikuwa tunapata hizi vitu kwa Ministry of Social Services. My question is, are we changing everything from social services to interior. Hiyo ni question ya kwanza. Question ya pili, hizi vitu zote tukiongea hapa tumesema most of the things tutakuwa tunafanya online. In case the online fails, which office will we go to? And yet, kulingana na discussion ilikuwa pale, it is moving to the social services. Are you going to form another office apart from the social services ya interior hapa yenye itakuwa inashughulikia hizi mambo? That is my question. I might be a slow learner, but that is my thinking. Asante.
That's a valid question, and I think just to show you that you're not alone in asking about access. Wakati tulikuwa Meru na Garissa, kulikuwa na maoni kwamba kwa mfano wakati Public Benefit Regulatory Authority wanaenda online, wasisahau pia they can choose to attach their offices to Huduma Center. Ndio kila pahali kuna Huduma Center unakutana na hiyo ofisi. So tumepata maoni mengi, na hiyo wazo lako ni mmoja ya wale ambayo wakati mwenzetu Lyndon atakuwa na jibu, he'll be able to answer your concern about that. But it's a valid concern and question that we've encountered across the other spaces we've gone through. So it is a right question you've asked. Thank you. Any other question from that side? Kuna mwenzetu pale kando, please give the microphone. Yes. Gina, county and organization if you represent any.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gladys from Wasingishu. It's a concern. Now we have been in these programs, organizations, NGO, and I'm so happy today kwa sababu nimeona public participation benefits. When it comes to benefits, hapo ni mahali penye nimeshikilia na nimesikia points ya watu wote. Everybody wants to reach to the ground. Now, my concern here is, we have been in those NGOs programs for so many years. I'm concerned for those organizations wenye hawajawahi fundiwa hata moja. Maybe from 2000 up to this moment. Wako kwa hii meeting. Hizi organizations wamejaribu kuandika proposals all along hawajafanikiwa. Now, you are now in the ground. Mtasaidia namna gani ili waweze nao kupata the benefits of this public, and it should reach to the public, to the ground. It's a concern. Thank you so much.
Asante sana. There's another hand hapo mbele yako, quickly. Mpatie. Then I want to invite Lyndon to handle those questions before I come back again to the audience.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am Pastor Joseph. I just have some concerns on membership of the board of the authority. I see some highlights. First, I come from Grace Church Mission, and also we are under a community-based organization in Huruma called Huruma CBO. So we have some concerns on membership of the board of the authority. So we see in the highlights, we have the chairman being the president, members appointed by cabinet secretaries going down, principal secretaries. We have the last one being the director general, CEO of the board. Maybe just to make it better, because you know, there have been a concern of members from the public being in the board. And because us being in the CBOs and NGOs, we are not included there. So maybe to just bring, I don't see even the people with disabilities here. So I think they need to expand these people who are become the board of, because me as a person who is running a CBO or the director, I don't feel it will be good if the person representing me there upwards is not someone ambaye mimi namfahamu vizuri. So I think we need to have a representation from our side, the side of the people with disability, and also the church, being a pastor, because I don't see that those people here in the highlight. So that is my concern. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lyndon. Maybe you could take those concerns, because I've realized it's mostly concerns that requires a bit of feedback.
Let me start with the last one. Pastor Joseph. A representation in the board of the authority takes care of different interest groups. For instance, the Federation of PBOs is represented in the board of the authority. Now, wewe mtu amecheka sana. Now, this is how you get represented. The Federation of PBOs is a volunteer organization for all PBOs registered in this country. At the opportune time, the Federation will call together all its members. The Federation will hold elections. The people that the Federation will elect from the chairman of the Federation and 3 other members will be appointed to represent the civil society sector in the board of the authority. So do not worry about that. Representation is there for the sector. It is upon the sector to elect the people they want to represent them in the board of the authority. The other question was on cross-border organizations. Cross-border organizations are a bit tricky in the sense that the jurisdiction of the Kenyan government does not extend beyond the border. If you cross the border and go into Sudan or Uganda or Ethiopia, then the laws of Ethiopia or Uganda or Sudan will take effect immediately. So there is a sister organization in those other countries that regulate PBOs the same way we have in Kenya. So if you have cross-border activities, then you are bound to comply with the laws of the country in which you go to. For instance, organizations registered in the US or in the UK or in Canada or any other country for that matter, when they come to Kenya, they must comply with the law they find in Kenya. They cannot come with their own law and implement here. So on issues of cross-border, the laws that you find across the border is what you apply. Insofar as Kenya is concerned, you comply with what the PBO Act says, and you're good. There was a question on bestowment from Humphrey, Bunge la Mwananchi. Bestowment applies to organizations that are not registered under the PBO's Act. I want you to get that correctly. You are not registered under the PBO's Act. You could be registered under social services. You could be registered under companies limited by guarantee. You could be registered as an association. You could also be registered as a trust. You are not under the PBO's Act. The moment you want to benefit from the tax exemption, work permit, and everything else that comes with the PBO's Act, then you must enter into that status where you get public benefit status bestowed upon you as someone who is outside, who is coming inside. So that is different from someone who is already registered here, who simply makes an application for those benefits. I don't know if you get the difference now.
Okay. My point of reference was that when we were being taken through the summary of this participation, we were told that already the government recognizes that we have existing PBOs like the CBO. So my question was, since for us we were registered with the social services and we are already in operation, translating into the new PBO, are we going to reapply, re-register as now new PBOs, or we are going to be considered as existing? The transition point is what we needed, that clarity.
CBOs are not transitioning. You transition because you are already under that particular law. Then you transition. But because you are not under this law, you do not transition. You come in. Now, for the case of CBOs, number one, we have to first set out a criteria, because CBOs are registered in two different ways. There are self-help CBOs, right? Then there are CBOs that engage in charity. There are even CBOs that engage in children affairs. So first we have to determine what kind of CBO are you. Once we are certain that you engage in charity and you meet a certain criteria that will be set, then now we bestow upon you public benefit status. That status is what now brings you into the fold. Then there are certain things that will be required of you. For example, your governance structure has to be in tandem with what the PBO Act proposes. Your objectives have to exclusively be for public benefit. Your members cannot benefit from. So those are criteria that will be put in place for organizations that are not registered under the PBO's Act. And on the same note, cooperatives are not, they do not qualify to be PBOs. Cooperative societies do not qualify. There was a question on organizations with multiple objectives. When you come for registration, we will ask you, as we have done in the last 30 years, to have a main objective. That main objective is the vision that you want to implement for the people that you want to assist. Now, the next thing is we will ask you to break down that main objective into specific objectives. Specific objectives will indicate how you intend to carry out the main objective. So do not mistake specific objectives to be multiple objectives. You must only have one objective that you will pursue, even if it has several limbs in the form of specific objectives, but swara ni moja. Ukienda kuwinda, unaweza fukuza kila swara. Those of us who hunt, if you are going to hunt a gazelle, do you chase a rabbit? You focus on the gazelle. This was a recommendation, the registration of organization within a year. You suggested 3 years. You wanted, Wanjala, you wanted a clarification on minimum number of directors. You said you only have 3 at the moment. When you are not an existing PBO and you are coming in, a criteria will be set, including governance. Directors are found under governance. So if you will be required to have 5, you will be advised. Peter Juma, you made comments. No question. Somebody also asked, what is the source of funding for PBOs? PBOs fundraise. Fundraising is a personalized affair. You either do proposals, get funded, or you expand your networks, somebody gets interested in funding you, they fund you. Or you partner or collaborate with other like-minded organizations, you bring in something, they bring in something, you get funded. Membership fee is also a form of funding. Membership subscription is also another form of funding. You can also get money from your pocket and inject into the organization. That is still funding. The other one was, what does national government intend to do about INGOs that involve themselves in politics? NGOs, PBOs are non-political, they are non-partisan, and cannot and should not engage in matters politics. It's as simple as that. If you engage in politics, it means you are running away from the objective for which you are registered. It means you are now non-compliant, and action should be taken against such an organization, because everybody must focus on the objective for which they were registered. The other one was, do PBOs include churches? Churches are faith-based organizations, and their regulation is totally different. However, there are churches that engage in charity or public benefit. For example, you'll find a church that is running an orphanage, or a church that is running a school, or a church that is engaged in social activities in the society. Now, the PBO's authority will determine those kind of activities that churches are running that fall under the ambit of public benefit, and will take over those programs, advise those churches to register them accordingly. Otherwise, propagation of faith is something that is, for a long time, has not been regulated. I think there's some proposal to regulate, but hiyo ni siasa ingine sitaki kuingilia. Jeremiah, you said now that you are registered under social services. Do they change everything to interior? No. If you are registered under social services, you are not changing everything to interior. You are simply getting public benefit status and continuing with your previous registration. However, should you want to convert from social services, then now you get registration or seek registration under Section 8 or Section 11. How, this was Gladys, how will authorities support PBOs that have never gotten funding? Compliance. Compliance, compliance. That is how the authority can support PBOs to get funding. Because this law requires the authority to publish in the register and in the website names of organizations that are compliant. That is where donors will also come to look for organizations that they want to fund. So if you are compliant and your name is in the register published in the website, chances are that there's a donor who will see you there and want to fund you or propose to have a conversation with you. Sawa.
Thank you very much. Now, I want to take another round if there are concerns, so that I hope your question wakati unauliza ukapata umejibiwa, The reason I invite the team to answer is to ensure that we don't repeat the same question, especially on the organization. So I can see a hand. Please come. Karibu. So I have 1, 2, there's number 3. So let's start with the first one quickly.
Good afternoon. My name is Josephine Biwot from Advocacy for Change. I want to appreciate what the institution has done. I have 3 concerns. Having interacted with your current registration, I would request that it should be user-friendly. Many times you really struggle when you are applying. It doesn't give you a room for like save, then come back later and proceed. So it's not a good user-friendly. 2, there is a lot of requirements. One of the requirements has been certificate of good conduct. I don't know what does that has to do with me, because certificate of good conduct, I will have it. But then does that stop me from being irresponsible? Is there a better way of dealing with that other than attaching the certificate of good conduct? And 3, looking at the duration. How long? For long, we've known that when you're registering the organization, it takes a long time for you to have the certificate or the process. By us having PBO, will it reduce the duration? It will be good if it will do so. Otherwise, we appreciate the work done. Thank you.
Thank you for that concern. I hope the team has meant, especially on the issue of registration, to make it user-friendly. Proceed quickly. Name, county, and organization.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Joseph Ajang Brenya Ajang. I'm representing Amodgal Foundation. It's an international organization which is cover 3 countries, Kenya, Uganda, and South Sudan. So my question is on section 36, engaging in economic activities. 2 questions. First, do you agree that public benefit organizations should be allowed to engage in lawful economic activities to support the objective? Why or not why? I will repeat it again. Do you agree that public benefit organization, PBO, should be allowed to engage in lawful economic activities to support the objective? Why or not? 2, what type of economic activities should PBO be allowed to engage in without conflicting with the public benefit purpose? So the last one is specific recommendation by piece item. So I want to make suggestion on the piece item, because I have seen the price is too high and the economic is really affecting all the organization, either international organization or CBO. The first one here is name search and reservation. It has been written 2000. So I can suggest 1,000 instead of 2,000. Or we can even make it free without charges for the past time applicants. Second, extension of the proposal name. It has been written 2,000, so I can suggest 500 or 1,000. 500 or 1,000. 3, registration as a national PBO. It has been written 20,000. I can suggest 10,000 instead of 20. Bestowment of PBO status, it has been written 22,000. So I can suggest, instead of 22,000, I can suggest 15,000. Instead of putting 22, I can reduce it to 15. Then number 5, registration as international PBO. It has been written 40,000. Okay, that one I can suggest we can maintain, or we can reduce it to 30,000 or 40, depend. And then exemption from registration, PBO, it has been written 75,000. 75,000 is too high. So I can reduce it to 30 or 40,000. So I can suggest 3,000 or 5,000. And then finally, replacement or certified copies of certificate. It has been written 5,000. So I can suggest 2,000 or 3,000. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. I think there are questions that he's asked that doesn't even need, please come quickly because now we are winding up. There are some questions he's asked that we can straight away answer. During our presentation, I'm sure you had mentioned that one of the benefits of this act, as well as the regulations, is the provision that allows PBOs to engage in lawful economic activity. So the answer is yes, you are allowed. On condition the proceeds are for the same public benefits that you've declared or as you've given as objective of the organization. Number 2, there is also qualification when it comes to the economic activities. It should be lawful, importantly should have the licenses and approvals from the different regulators. So as long as it is something legitimately allowed by the laws of the land, and the purpose of this economic activity is to come support the activities of the PBO. So that you know, KRA will have a problem with you. Unafanya economic activities or you carry out economic activities, you have an exemption here as a PBO, but at the same time, it is for your own personal benefit. There must be a correlation. The proceeds have to go to the public benefit organization. That is what is expected. But it is indeed true, one of the advantages you are allowed to carry out quickly. Then I have I'll come there. Let me finish. And I'll finish with the old man on the other side. Karibu, quickly.
My name is Clinton Guaco from Uasin Gishu here. I represent Rural Women Peace Link, part of the Uasin Gishu CSO network. Question number 1. By the regulations referring to forums, just help me clarify whether it's the same as consortia. And then because the recommendations being set up by the regulations will have an impact, especially in terms of applying for grants under consortia. So help me just clarify whether by forums we mean consortia. Then secondly, I wanted to suggest it's well enough that the authority wants to regulate the formation and operations of the public benefit organizations, but I'm just suggesting it would be best to let the PBOs be free to associate the way they want, rather than set up regulations saying, for example, minimum of 10 PBOs will form a forum and things like that. Just let them be free to associate the way they want. And that's why I'm suggesting, and I'm asking whether by forums we mean consortia, because at times we do apply for grants under consortia. So it would be nice to let us just be willing to associate the way we want and not really regulate to the extent that you're regulating our terms of association, that you need a constitution, like our terms of association and things like that. Then please also help me to clarify, when we are opening bank accounts as PBOs, you require a fee of 4,000 for each request letter that is to be sent to the PBORA. So please help me understand whether this is something that is stipulated under the Act or it will be part of the regulations. And if this is a regulative action, I suggest that really this letter just be free. Otherwise, maybe let us know what will be the purpose of the 4,000 for just giving you a request letter to open a bank account. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a microphone. Please welcome.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Nataka ni shukuru siku ya leo sababu ya ile kazi mzuri ambayo organization hii wameweza kupanga na kutuita. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Julius Matala, mkaaji wa Pokot, West Pokot, yani Pokot Central, the other side. Mimi nimefurahia na kitu moja ya kwamba hii organization nyingi. Mimi pia ni mzee Council of Elders kutoka Pokot County, na mimi kwa huko tumeunga pia na organization yetu ambaye kama wasee inaitwa Pokot Council of Elders as Housing Operation, na mimi ndio chairman yao, na kwa pale mimi tuko na hiyo organization, tunapanga mambo yetu. Tuko na wasee members 3,000 ambaye wanatoka entirely West Pokot. Tumenunua kanyumba yetu ambaye tunataka tubesie, na hiyo nyumba ikatushinda, tumelipa mpaka 4 million. Inatakikana tulipe 15 million kwa hiyo nyumba, lakini bado tunaendelea kusanya na kuweza kufungua vizuri. Tumeregister kwa social services kwa cooperative ya West Pokot County Cooperative Society, na tuko members katika ile corporation, na wako na members wengi ambaye corporation ya Masiwa ingine na ingine. Kwa hivyo mimi nimekuja hapa kwa hii organization ambaye ni ya Mau Mau. Mimi nimekuja hapa kama chairman ya Pokot Central kwa kazi hiyo. Kwa hivyo nataka nishukuru. Ya kwanza nataka ningesema ya kwamba unajua county ya West Pokot ni ile county Kapenguria 6 iko pale. Kwa hivyo iliwekwa iko pale, na Kapenguria 6 ndio walitoka pale, wenye walikuwa pale wakakuja wakaongoza katika Kenya hii. Na wakati ule mwingine walisumbuka sana kwa mambo ya Mau Mau, uweza kufukusa yule Muingereza ndio aweze tutawale na akatoka hapo. Kwa hivyo kuna mambo mengi ningetaka nilete kama mzee mkaaji ya pale. Mambo pale Pokot Central kuna barabara moja inaelekea Sigor ambaye iliundwa na watu wa wasee wa pale zamani ambaye walikuwa pamoja na kazi ile wa Mau walikuwa wanafanya. Walifanyishwa ile kazi without anything, bure tu. Wakafanya hiyo kazi, wakataboa hiyo barabara ya mawe, mlango ile ilikuwa ni kama kilomita kama 7-8 hivi kuelekea, ndio ilekee Sigor, iende mpaka pale Kolowo. Kuna pale pia Kolowo wale wa Masambwa waliwawa wengi pale. Barabara hiyo ilikuwa napita na kuelekea pande hiyo. Kwa hivyo maombi yangu ni kwamba tungeweza kufanya yani ile inaitwa sites, historical site ya mambo kama hiyo. Barabara hiyo ya kwanza ya Marich kuelekea mpaka Sigor kuelekea mpaka pande ile nyingine, watu wa mama hiyo organization ambaye tunaendelea naye saa hii wangeipanga na tujenge hiyo barabara tena na iwe andikwe kama ni barabara ya Mau samani na ielekee iende ndani mpaka pale palingine. Alafu ya pili tena nyingine hiyo organization na wazee ambaye niko naye kama cooperator kama chairman, kama hiyo organization pia wangeweza ama organization zingine waweze kuja kusaidia hao wazee waweze kuinuka na waendelee. Unajua wazee pia wakifika umri fulani wanashindwa na watu wanafukuza, watoto wanakatao na wazee wanabaki. Kwa hivyo wameungana wakaweka hiyo organization. Wanataka kufanya operation ya kujengaji, yani housing operation. Kujenga manyumba mahali fulani na kuuza. Kujenga mahali fulani estate fulani na kuuza. Hiyo ni lengo yao. Kwa hivyo ningetaka pia niseme ya kwamba nimefurahia hii mkutano na tuendelee kufanya hivi. Na kuna mengi, sio yoyo peke yake. Abianguria 6 na mambo mengine mengi katika West Pokot. Tuweze kuangaliwa na kuweza kutengenezewa iwe sites ya kuonyesha kwamba samani wase wetu. Mimi baba yangu ndio alijenga hiyo barabara ile wase ambaye ile ilikuwa inaitwa Sawa, yani group yao, yani generation yao ilikuwa ile inaitwa Sawa. Alafu Sawa mimi ni mtoto ya Sawa. Sasa wao ndio waliumizwa tu wakijenga bure na barabara ilitapakwa na lakini iko pale. Tungetaka ijengwe, iwekwe katika orodha ya kusema hii ndio ilikuwa ya Mau na tuweke bendera ya Mau hapo iweze kuonyesha hapa. Alafu benefit wajenge mpaka Masol. Ya pili nataka niseme tu ya asante sana. Ya pili nataka niseme ya kwamba tunafurahia kazi hii ya Mau. Tunafurahia vile yanaendelea. Tunafurahia mambo mengi. Lakini kitu tunasitumu. Kuna kitu moja sisi kama wazee. Hii mambo ya kutukua ya ufunjaji ya sheria. Ufunja wa sheria ovyo. Kufanya mambo ya ile aileti. Samani wazee wetu wangefanya hii maneno ya ufurukaji ya maneno hatungefika hapa. Kwa hivyo tunasitumu in strongest terms. Mambo ya ufunjaji wa sheria, uchomaji wa nyumba ya watu, ufanyaji ya mambo kama wazee. Sisi tunasitumu. Kwa hivyo hiyo mambo yote ambayo inaendelea sasa sijui tufanye nini, lakini tunaomba Mungu. Hiyo tunasitumu. Wazee tunasitumu. Na wazee hatutaki. Na wazee hiyo maneno hatufiki mbali. Tukienda hiyo laini hatutaenda mbali. Tutaisha hivi karibuni. Kwa hivyo tuangalie na kuangalia vizuri. Asante sana.
Asante sana. I think now the team ya Mau you are sufficiently represented. We will now take nataka sasa kuchukua nafasi hii kuwakumbusha kwamba ukiangalia katika ile muda ambao umepeanwa June 19th to July 25 inamaanisha bado tuko na muda. Tukikuja siku ya leo ilikuwa tu kuwapatia nafasi haswa wakaaji wa North Rift kukuwa na nafasi ya kutoa maoni yao moja kwa moja. Lakini zaidi ya hapo hakuna jambo ambalo au hakuna kitu ambayo inawasimamisha msiendelee kutupatia maoni zaidi ya leo kwa sababu bado kuna sessions zingine zitaendelea. Kesho kutwa tutakuwa Kakamega, wiki ijayo Jumatatu Kisumu, tukisonga Nakuru hadi kumalizia Nairobi. Na hadi tarehe 25 sheria inakubali kwamba kama uko na maoni mnaweza kuchangia na bado kutoa maoni kama vikundi, kama organizations, nothing stops you. So sitaki tukue na ile wazo kwamba baada ya leo hakuna tena nafasi. No, nafasi bado tunapewa. Leo ilikuwa tu ni kusikiza maoni yenu ana kwa ana, kupata petitions, kupata memorandum. Muhimu zaidi ilikuwa ni kuwajulisha regulations ambayo inatengenezwa inahusika na nini. So hata mkiondoka hapa siku ya leo, mkienda kufanya mikutano baina yenu au kwa vikundi, I'm sure mliambiwa you have forums. There was a question about forums and consortia. I think we'll get that answer shortly. But generally, you can still do your meetings in your organizations, whether CSO, and be able to get comments, opinions, and as a result, nothing stops you from giving us on email. The regulator will share, and I think if you see their banners and posters, wako na email address wametupatia. There is also the option of sanduku la posta. Kama bado kuna watu wanatumia posta, bado kuna nafasi hiyo. And importantly, because the law says 30 days of public participation, that period runs up to 25th of June. Si kama wakaaji wa North Rift tuko na tuseme wiki moja unusu au 2 weeks, mnaombwa tafadhali bado mkuwe na nafasi na wito wa kutuma maandishi zenyu. Let me invite Lyndon to quickly close up on those comments, and then we are able to invite to finish up. Karibu.
Thank you, Joshua. Quickly to Josephine Biwot's questions. She wanted to know, she wanted to know maneno ya police clearance, due diligence. Simple. Ni maneno ya due diligence, unafanya, unapewa certificate. And yes, registration is now 2 months according to the Act. It has reduced from that long period you are talking about to 2 months. Economic activities will depend on the PBO and what it does. Kama unafuga ng'ombe uko na extra maziwa unauza, unaweka pesa kwa PBO. Kama ni kuku uko na extra mayai unauza, unaweka. So it will depend with what the PBO is dealing with. Consortiums are purpose vehicles that are used for short time reasons, and they do not necessarily mean forums, and they do not in any way interfere with forums. So I guess that marks the end of questions, and I would like to invite Joshua to wind up the session.
So asante sana. Now, there was a question, the difference between fora and a consortia. Yes.
Those are statutory and regulatory fees. We do it now. All of you know that, isn't it? Yeah, those are things that we, administrative and regulations. There is also something that I wanted to inform you before we close the forum. We are becoming an authority, a regulatory authority, isn't it? Some of the fees that we are doing now were set in 1990. Economy ya 1990 na ya 2025 iko sawa kweli? So we need to be very realistic. Even as we give our public participation, there is also the mindset that we also need to check. That we need to even think about. From the regulatory side now, we are telling the international donors, when they come, let them implement with local agencies, isn't it? Communities, inequally. We want them to register and give opportunity to the locally registered NGOs. Isn't that a good thing? Ama namna gani? Let a big organization bring the money and implement through the smaller agencies. Siyo ni mzuri? Siyo ni mzuri? So we need to put regulation na namna hiyo. Alafu pia tufikirie zaidi kidogo. Tufikirie zaidi kidogo kwa sababu international NGOs are making Kenya to be a regional hub. Very many of them. In Nairobi, they are operating. They want to have their hub, and then they so that to be a region, watakuwa na operate Uganda, Tanzania. Nyinyi hamtaki watupatie revenue. Tuko pamoja mpaka hapo? Some of the fees that we are talking about is very small amount of money. Si pesa mingi sana. So, those are the things we've had you. Tumesikia na tunaendelea kusanya. But let us also look in that point that some of the fees that are there now were set in 1990. Because this act is repealing the NGO Act of 1990. So we are also progressive and all that. We've heard about the fees and all that. The proposals that someone has said. Hiyo proposal sisi tumeweka hapo, pia there is a formula tuliangalia in relation to other authorities. IRA, KCAA, Communication Authority. So that tusiseme pia sisi hatutaki kuwa regulated. Now, and I am repeating this everywhere I go. This bill of making the coordination board an authority, it was by the civil society groups. It was not government sponsored. Sinukweli. There are people who are architects of this act who are still there and they are very happy. So let us also appreciate the history and the genesis of the act. The only thing that this government is doing is to implement it after 10 years. Na nasaile niliwaambia na tunapigia hii serikali makofi kwa sababu walisema na kutenda, si ni kweli? Asante sana na Mungu awabariki.
Good. I'll give you a chance to give a vote of thanks. You will go on a comment vote of thanks before I can wind it up quickly.
Amjambo wote. My name is Jackson Kiago. I come from National Industrial Training Authority, NITA. We are under the Ministry of Labor, the Social Protection and Skills Development. NITA ndio inahusika na ile maneno ya wanafunzi wetu wanapofika university na colleges, wanapoenda attachment. Sikuna wazazi hapa wako na watoto wale wanasoma university. Ikifika mwaka wa 3 ukielekea mwaka wa 4, au wanafunzi wanatakikana kuenda attachment ya miezi 3. So I am the regional manager, North Rift, ofisi yetu iko pale KVDA 8th floor. Coming to what we had today here, I just wanted to comment on page 5. Page 5, that is 4.1, no, that 4.3.1p. About the timelines, if there's an applicant who is unsuccessful, you put, I am proposing that you put at the timelines. You put, I am proposing 14 days. You communicate with that applicant if he is unsuccessful. Then we go to page 6, number 5. 5D, in the opinion of the authority, the name is likely to give the impression that the public benefit organization is connected to a state organ, a county government, I am bringing a new entity there. If there is a political party, then you continue with all another public entity. Very quickly, I go to page 17. Restoration upon cancellation. That is item number 19. Where the authority may on its own motion, another third party, stroke organization, in brackets, private or public. The other item I want to propose is 19D, which is not there. I am proposing that you include, if there is someone who will go to court and obtain a court order where an organization has been cancelled, the authority is mandated to restore the registration of that PPO. Then the last one, page 33. This is second schedule under the forms which are needed to adhere to. Number 4, 1/3 of your directors must be Kenyans and resident in the county. This one, I am requesting the rapporteurs and your legal team to consider Article 27, Article 10 and Article 27, which talks of 1/3 or 2/3 gender rule of the director, so that we cannot have pengine wamama peke yao in that board, ama wapapa peke yao. 1/3. And the last one, page 37 of this document, part 6 of that form, page 37, part 6. You have 2 items, number 1 and 2. I am proposing to have number 3 there, which will read like this. Is your board compliant under the provisions of the Constitution of Kenya? In brackets, we can say Article 10 and Article 27. Having said that, I know this is a document ambao ni regulations. This one will guide the participants or the people who are going to use the PPO Act. Hii ni ile na kusaidia vile tuta-implement the PPO Act. I want to commend the Director General, the 2 commissioners who are here. Yeah. And also, one last thing I want to say is this. I understand that we are here from 6 counties. Next time when we have a very important occasion like this, kindly Director General and your team, let us go to the counties so that people can have ample time to interact with these very important documents and also contribute very greatly. Because kuna wengine pengine wangetembea lakini imekuwa ni mbali. Otherwise, I want to thank you for giving me this chance. Mungu awabariki na Mungu abariki Kenya.
Thank you. Now that I wanted to invite the county commissioner, let me, because we didn't get what I wanted, maybe on behalf of, because you represent the network, a minute, and then I want to invite the county commissioner, Elgeyo Marakwet, to give his remarks. We'll finish with a word of prayer, and then we do our national anthem, we call it a day. A minute, kindly.
Nashukuru sana. For those who don't know Mr. Kiptoo amekuwa speaker county government of Nandi na tumefanya kazi na yeye vizuri sana. There is a missing link, na hiyo ni ombi langu la mwisho, kwamba wenye wametuletea hii mambo yote siku ya leo ni Public Benefit Organization Regulatory Authority, ambapo ni upande wa serikali. Sisi ili to engage from the counties yenye mmetoka, and I'm very impressed. Nimeona already in counties kuna networks. Ili to engage na federation, ili hii act iwe successful, lazima our part sana sana ni part 7 of this act. Part 7. Tuende to internalize na part 7. And part 7 talks about forums. Forums, in this case, ni federation. Lazima tuwe na federation kwa every county. Hawa maofisa wamesema kwamba civil society organizations walichangia hii. Tulichangia because of the small networks zenye siko kwa counties. Siko kwa counties, siko kwa region yetu ya North Rift ambayo it's organized around blocks ambayo ni North Rift region, ambapo pia iko kwa national. From the county federation ndio your representation itaenda kwa regional, then from regional itaenda kwa national. So from my experience in the sector for around 35 years, there is nothing you can achieve as organizations wenye wako ground, wenye wako counties, wenye wako sub counties, wenye wako wards, bila kuwa na forums. Sitaki kurudia mambo mengi. Federation itakusaidia kwa mambo ya resource mobilization. Federation katika counties itasaidia mambo ya organization along thematic area. Federation kwa counties itakusaidia along sector registration. Kwa sababu amwezi kuregister kwa county mfanye mambo ya watoto wote, mambo ya governance wote, mambo ya microfinance wote, hizo zingine zote. Lakini mkiwa na networks na federation itakuwa mzuri. Itakuwa mzuri mkiwa na federation katika county, mna check every intruder. Kwa sababu hapa unajua why did we choose to support this? Kwa sababu at the county level kuna national INGOs. Kuna INGOs wenye wanakuja tu, utastukia kwamba Wasingishu kuna organization imekuja wanataka kufanya kazi ya maji. Ujui nani alimwambia kwamba kuna shida ya maji Wasingishu? Kuna wengine wanakuja wanasaidia mayatima. Ujui nani alimwambia kuna shida ya mayatima Wasingishu? So federation ina allow mambo ya perfect self regulation ya CSOs ya public benefit organizations. Sahi mambo ya CSOs imeisha, tunaenda kwa public benefit organization. So take part 7 as very important. Mkifika kwa county yenu, nimeona hata kuna networks ya Mau ambayo iko these networks nimeona wako na badges hapa. That is brilliant. Simama. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Kwa sababu mmesema mko kwa counties mingi. So let's concentrate on federations kwanza ndio to register. Because if you register as a single organization, unaweza kuregister as required kwa sababu utaregister online ama kwa ofisi wenye wanatupatia region. But kesho mambo ikiumana, the federation itatusaidia sana. Asante na Mungu awabariki.
So let me welcome the county commissioner.
Asante sana wakili. Nadhani sisi sote tumechoka, si ndio? Kwa wale ambao labda waliingia baadaye baada ya sisi kufanya introduction, naitwa Dr. Korir, County Commissioner Elgeyo Marakwet. Tumefurahi kusikiza maoni yenu. Labda jambo ambalo tu labda ningewawachia ni kwamba hii regulatory authority inasunguka Kenya nzima kuchukua maoni ya wananchi, na contribution yako ni muhimu, na contribution ya mtu wa Kwale pia ni muhimu, na ikiunganishwa na Mandera katika kipengele fulani itaangaliwa ifanywe balance, na yako huenda ikachukua ikawin ama iwe moderated ama hata ukose kwamba haikuonekana. Hiyo ni kumaanisha kwamba kuna maoni ingine imechukua ushindi ikilinganishwa na maoni ya watu wengine. So cha muhimu na cha msingi ni kwamba hii shughuli inaisha ikiwa sisi sote tumechangia kwa njia moja ama nyingine. Kuna mambo mengine inakuwa in-house, hata iko kwa hizi regulations, lakini hata hivyo tumejadiliana. Kuna kama ile ingine tulikuwa nauliza hii registration, the whole process iwe domiciled upande gani, na mimi sioni kama inachalisha ni kama umeenda kwa baba, na kwa baba ako na rooms zaidi ya 20 na unataka services, na amelabel ya kwamba door number 1 utapatiwa huduma aina hii, door number 10 inapeana huduma namna hii, mpaka door number 20. Lakini endapo ile services ulikuwa unapata namba 20 ikirudishwa ikuje kwa number 1, ile kitu utauliza tu ukienda kwa hiyo boma, ile services aina hii ninapata katika mlango gani? Unaambiwa mlango ni hii. As long as at the end of the day umepata what you want as an entity as you go in the process of registration. So according to me, haijalishi ni rumi gani umekula chakula, as long as umepewa chakula na serikali yetu tukufu. Hizi regulations pia mambo ya kusema we need to be independent. According to nimeangalia, hakuna mahali ambapo imesemekana hatuko independent. Lakini katika hii independence yako lazima pia uwe regulated. Katika kutembea kwa hiyo barabara usigusane na gari ingine inatoka the other side of the road. So what we are doing actually basically here ni kama kwa barabara ukitoka hapa kwenda Nairobi lazima uwe na traffic laws. Kuna mahali unaambiwa hapa usiende na speed ya zaidi ya 50. Hapa unaambiwa usifanye overtaking. Lakini sehemu nyingine unaambiwa unaweza kuovertake kama barabara iko very clear. Those are the regulations. Lakini hizi magari tunatumia si iko aina na yote ni private. Lakini ile kitu limewekwa kwa hiyo barabara ni regulations, ndiposa tuweze kutembea kwa barabara bila kuwa na shida kwa wale watumizi wengine wa barabara. Kwa hivyo nawashukuru nyote kwa kuweza kupata nafasi. Tushukuru Mungu ametupatia neema na hekima ya kuweza kuchangia. Na hakuna mchango kidogo, hakuna mwenye amechangia pakubwa. Sisi sote kwa njia moja ama nyingine tumechenga these regulations na itaenda kulinganishwa na ya watu wengine. Kwa hivyo at the end of the day tunashukuru kwamba Mungu ametupatia nafasi ya kuweza kushiriki sote kama counties, sote kama taifa. Na watakia kila laheri, na time bado iko. Nadhani umepeana email ya kuweza kuwasilisha mambo zaidi. Hata katika kuondoka hapa uenda ukafikiria jambo lingine kipya leo jioni ama kesho, uko huru kuweza kuwasilisha kwa njia ya email. Na watakia kila laheri. Mwenyezi Mungu aturehemu, atuongoze na tuweze kupata regulations ipasavyo yenye inaweza kuendesha nchi yetu tukufu kwa njia poa. Asanteni sana.
Haya, tujipigie makofi pia sisi ambao tumekaa hapa. Number 2, let's appreciate watu wa Public Benefit Regulatory Authority. Pigia hao makofi. And then for the moderators na pia ule wa sign language, tumpigie makofi sana. Thank you very much. I need a volunteer wa kuomba. Si ndio? Atuombe and then tutafunga na national anthem. Or which one comes first? Yote ni maombi. So which one comes first?
Let's pray first then
proceed.
Asante. Do I pray for lunch too? Niombe lunch. Asante. Wacha tuamini. Baba, katika jina la Yesu tunasema ni asante. Tunarudisha shukrani kwa maana umetuwezesha kufika hadi wa sasa. Tunaombea kila kundi, tunaombea serikali na tunaombea Jehova wale wote ambao wanahusika kwa maandishi haya. Wape hekima, wape amani na utufunike kwa upendo wako mkuu. Baba, kwa yale yote ambao tutatumia, waezeshe pia ambao umetuweza kutukongamanisha hapa, pia tuweze kupata chakula ya siku. Tunaomba haya yote kupita jina safi la Bwana wetu Yesu Kristo. Amen.
Tusimame kwa national anthem. Just one stanza. Alafu we are free to leave at our pleasure. Quickly for the national anthem. Asanteni sana.
Tutaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. Thank you. Wale ambao wanataka kuja tukaribiane Kakamega day after tomorrow, Kisumu Monday, you are all welcome. God bless you. Let's travel safe.